Welcome back to Switch Point, and it has finally happened. Nintendo has unveiled Nintendo Switch 2, and it's set to release on June 5th. And we have so much, so much to talk about today. But I think the place that we're going to start is what has been the entire talking point of everything surrounding Switch 2, and that is pricing.
Yeah, overall, I'd say I've really loved everything that was announced. I'm coming off really positive, and I'm sure you are too, Noah, but we have a couple of negative sticking points that we feel we'd just like to get out of the way before opening up the gushing floodgates.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, okay, so starting with the console itself, right? $449, I have zero problem with that. You look at the feature set that we're getting, you look at the overall market, I think most analysts and myself included, I was expecting something in the range of, $399 to $499. So this is right in the middle. I really don't have a problem with it, especially considering we're getting things like a 120 hertz panel, VRR support, all this stuff that, wasn't necessarily confirmed or leaked. So I'm very fine with the price of the console, but it's the software pricing that is just baffling.
It's straight up abysmal, in my opinion. Like, $80. And we were complaining about $70 last episode. We were being like the biggest cynics in the world on some of the pricing ideas we had last episode, and I'd say this is worse than I anticipated.
Oh, it's much worse than I anticipated. I mean, so, Mario Kart, if you've not been online, you're not in the bubble, let me fill you in. So, Mario Kart World, the next entry in the Mario Kart franchise, it looks amazing, by the way. We'll get to that later, but it's $80 in the United States. And there's different pricing in Europe with a physical thing for 90 pounds, I think it is, listed. And it's just a really big mess. And, obviously, Payne's exactly right. $70 games, we've complained about it before, but I do want to take the neutral stance here. $70 games have been around since 2020, and like it or not, the market has adjusted to that. And I think that's something that you and I both have begrudgingly accepted, right?
Sadly,
Yeah, and
because
it
it's
is what
just
it
that
is.
it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where, like, I'm definitely not happy about it. Like, I feel like especially in Western development right now, you know, $70. Okay, we increased the game by $10, but there's really no increase in quality, and we're still releasing broken launches, and it's just terrible, right? So I definitely still have reservations about $70, but no one in the industry has tried 80 or 90 or 100. And, we had talked, the whole online for the last year has been like, GTA 6 is going to be like $100 at launch because Rockstar knows that people will pay anything for that game. They're going to put it at $100 or something. And, that seemed crazy and seemed ridiculous. And I never in a million years would have expected Nintendo to be the one to pull the trigger on $80 games. So, yeah, Mario Kart is $80. Their Donkey Kong Bonanza is 70, and it's really confusing. It's a really confusing model. Pricing's variable. Mario Kart's $80, and they're also reselling Breath of the Wild for $70 for an increased resolution and frame rate with no DLC included. So you're paying $70 for an almost 10-year-old game. Tears of the Kingdom 2023 release, no DLC with that. You're getting, 4K 60 paid upgrade to $80. So it's an $80 release on Switch 2. Kirby and the Forgotten Land 2022 game that is a 3D platformer. That's getting actually a sizable amount of new content, which looks good, but it's $80 for Switch 2. And I just take a step back here, and it's not even just the game pricing, it's the upgrades, right? Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, if you are a Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack owner or user, you get access to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom upgrades for free. But generally, it looks like those upgrades are going to be $10 to $20, which I'm sorry. Like, I think it is insane to ask $10, even $10, to upgrade to higher resolution and better frame rate. That's insane. And I like genuinely, I don't know. And it's not even, we don't even have to stop at the games, but I want to give you a chance to kind of jump in, Payne, with your thoughts.
Like the variable pricing, we kind of discussed that a little too, but we weren't going like over 70 with it. We were thinking, maybe some of their smaller tier releases or remasters would be in that 40, 50, 60 range. But now we're talking 70, 80, 90. It's just, and I was sitting here and thinking, cough right there. I was sitting there and thinking, so all the games used to be that 60 range. But if we're jumping up to 80 being like the new standard big budget Nintendo release, after you buy three $80 games, that would have been one $60 game. And like we said last week, I feel like this really is like a rougher option for like families or kids because like a kid isn't going to be able to just buy an $80 game, and parents are probably going to be more reluctant to buy $80 games for them.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
the fact that
I,
the digitals affected this hard, the physicals are going to be the same exact price. Which at least with that, you're getting an actual case and game card.
yeah. I mean, I think the whole, you're definitely spot on. We talked about, Nintendo's big demographics, right? And I'm definitely concerned because I just don't see like, it's one like and I'm not saying $60 is cheap, but I think $60 is I guess I'll use swallowable. Like you could swallow a $60 expense and not and be okay. And I think for families, if your kid asks for, hey, I want to Switch 2 for Christmas, it's like you're looking at a $449 console and an $80 game for Mario Kart. Like that's unbelievable. That
And
is
that's if
so
you're buying for
expensive
one kid.
for one kid.
Like, even if you're sharing a console with your family, what if your kids want different games?
Yeah. It's it's just so expensive. And I actually was really thinking about this last night. I was yesterday was a lot. Like we wrote like almost 70 articles yesterday. And so I last night I went to bed around 3 and I was just laying down and just thinking about this and I was like, I seriously wonder what the ramifications of this $80 pricing could be because I almost think that this is going to price out so many people because here's kind of the thing, right? I'm not saying that consoles are dying because they're not. Switch sold 150 million units. PS5's looking like it's going to surpass 100 million easy. Consoles are doing well, but I almost wonder, if you look at the age demographics for consoles, a lot of the people that are buying consoles right now are in their, 20s and 30s, right? Like, yes, there's absolutely younger people, kids that are on consoles, but I think you have to look at the people, your enthusiast spenders who are buying all your games and, doing all this stuff. Those are your people in your 20s and 30s, right? So I almost wonder, I look at my situation, right? Like, yeah, I'm going to be buying a Switch too. But at the same time, it's like, man, like, I, you know, I can't help but feel that this is going to price a lot of people out. And so many people are just going to be unwilling to buy an $80 game. Like, for me, I'm like, I don't need Mario Kart at launch. It looks amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited for it. But I just don't feel like spending $80 on that release. And, I wonder if this is kind of the trend going forward and the industry gets to $80 releases, I think you're going to see a lot of people in that 20 to 30 age range demographic that almost might say, look, it's too expensive to keep doing this hobby. Like, I'm done buying consoles. I'm just going to buy a PC. And I seriously think that that's something that we need to assess from like an overview because I just really don't know that this, $70 releases were one thing, but I seriously think that you have to look at this and be like, I genuinely think $80 releases is going to cut people out of the market.
And like we've already been seeing that with $70 releases and like $500 consoles. And this $80 jump and the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom upgrade thing, I'll talk a little on the
Ridiculous.
upgrades. I get wanting to push people towards online. I personally have the expansion pack, so that's a nice little bonus, but I don't want to have to worry about upkeeping that in order to play, actually upgraded better versions of the games I already own. Especially when on PS5, like I can go buy like a copy of Star Ocean 6 right now for $20 at Walmart and then get a free upgrade. It's I get Nintendo's really pushing that, they're a quality brand. If you see that Nintendo logo stamped on a product, 90% of the time you're probably going to at least like it a fair bit, if not just outright love it. So, I wonder if this is a bit of like brand name abuse in a sense, but I know for sure I'm not going to be able to get any $80 game I want. I'll be picking and choosing, just like I've done with 70 and, to be fair, even some $60 games.
Yeah. I mean, $70 games, I'm the same way. It's like, I mean, granted, we work at a outlet where, we definitely get codes for games sometimes that we're reviewing, and that definitely plays into things. But I buy, I love collecting physical games. I buy physical games all the time, and yeah, I mean, a lot of the time for these $70 games, I'll wait for them to go on sale to like 30 or 40, and I'll buy them because I just don't really care. And it's like, Nintendo doesn't. Here's the problem, right? Nintendo does not put their games on sale.
No,
Nintendo games don't ever go on sale.
yep. Maybe they can go on sale now. Our $80 game is $60 now.
But I don't think so. I don't
Probably
think that
not.
they're going to change anything because it goes with the core philosophy that Nintendo has followed forever, and that is the price of the product reflects the quality. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't realize about Nintendo. And I think yes, this is a something of Japanese culture, but it's also very much so Nintendo aligned. It's you don't see this kind of stuff from Capcom and Square Enix for the most part. Like Nintendo views if we release Super Mario Odyssey at $60, that is because that is a premium product. And if we were to put it on sale, that means it is not of that high quality. And it's, there's actually a really great read on this. And I'm not just making this up, it is a real thing. There have been interviews about it. But the best example I can give you, and by the way, highly recommend reading this if you haven't, but Disrupting the Game. So, Reggie's kind of book that he put together a couple years ago. It's a really great book. If you're, I actually read it for for one of my essays in the business school. So I used that as an excuse whenever it came out. But it's a really, really great book. And, he talks about in that book about the Nintendo Wii, right? So when Wii came out in Japan, they didn't bundle Wii Sports with it, right? Wii Sports was a game. And Reggie basically had to fight tooth and nail to convince them to pack that in with the Wii worldwide. And it was a huge struggle because Nintendo's like, if we give this game away for free, it's not of high value. It's not good quality. And, you know, so he managed to convince them. And obviously we saw what happened. Wii Sports took over the world. Everyone wanted a Wii because of Wii Sports and it was a free game. And it's just so ironic looking at that and looking that Nintendo is charging for what is clearly a pack-in game of Nintendo Switch 2 Tour, right? And it's like I'm baffled. I'm so baffled. And I was having a conversation with a friend last night. Like, I don't know what it is about these companies, and they have a really successful generation, and they followed up with just unbelievable greed, right? I mean, we saw this with PS2 to PS3. We saw this from Xbox 360 to Xbox One, which, there's definitely more to say about the marketing on that one. But, I mean, overall, Nintendo went from Wii to Wii U, marketing, same thing. But I just feel like these brands just get this level of cockiness going into new consoles coming off a really successful one. And I just like, I don't know. I'm just really, it's almost overwhelming, like how disappointing and disappointed I am in Nintendo, like seeing all this pricing stuff.
Uh, it's it's a really complicated thing because, like you said, these companies will get like one good gen under their belt and then just lose their sanity. For example, Nintendo. I, I'm kind of upset that they're getting this cocky after the Switch. Because if you look at their like gen after gen, like full on history, like NES, that's what started it all. That's what truly got gaming super popular. But then Super Nintendo, the next gen, sold less than the NES. N64 sold even less. GameCube sold even less. And of course, the portables were keeping them afloat. Those have always been popular. And then the Wii blew up. And then the Wii U was their worst gen ever. And then we got Switch. So Nintendo's really only had like two knockout home console gens. Well, besides like NES. And
Yeah.
then their portables have done well. But guys, none of that stuff ever cost this much. And I get you can look at old gaming magazines and see 60, 70, $80 N64 cartridges. But we also had rental stores back then. Like so many people used to actually rent like an N64 and like a game for a weekend. Like, oh, here's a little bit of money and I'm going to sit here and beat Ocarina of Time over a weekend. We don't have stuff like that anymore. And then they would, about halfway through the gen have these big sales. Like you can find old sales papers of like, oh, you can get a Super Nintendo with Mario World for $100, which obviously was worth more back then. But that's a nice bundle and a good way to push more sales. I don't know if we're gonna really be getting that. And back on the pack-in title, or well, this one's not pack-in. It should have been. Like you can go out to Walmart right now and go buy like a Meta Quest, and that has like two or three like tour pack-ins, and then stuff you can go download.
And most of them include Batman Arkham VR, which is like a huge AAA VR game.
Mm-hmm. Or there's even the Astro's Playroom on PS5 as a pack-in. A 4 hour long, really well made little platformer that shows off your system capabilities. And I guarantee Nintendo Switch Tour thing definitely would have been a great pack in, just show some things, be charming. Nintendo is really good at designing those things. Like you could crack open a 3DS right now and have a few fun little pack in things that utilize the camera and AR features. But the Switch 2 is not getting that same type of treatment. So I'm going to have to buy this $450 console and go spend $80 or less to even be able to truly experience it. I can't even just pop in Breath of the Wild, download an update, and just jump in, like I could on some PS5 games. I'll have to either go buy that upgrade pass or subscribe to online. And all these little extra steps, plus having to pay more money overall, I feel like will filter people.
There's no like there's no denying it. I mean, I just don't know how you can sit here and like I'm not saying you specifically, just to just in general. I don't know how anyone can sit here and say that like yeah, this is gonna have no effect on anything, because like look, I agree with you, everything that's probably as a counter argument. Switch 2 is gonna sell out pre-order wise. It just will. And Mario Kart Tour, or World, so not Tour, Mario Kart World is going to do well. But I just think that this sets a very dangerous precedent. And I don't think that we're going to see the ramifications and the effects of that $80 increase until like 5 to 7 years from now. And that might be a point where, Nintendo's next console, they're going to have a lot harder time at getting people to adopt it because there's going to be less people interested in paying that much money for it. And I think there's been really interesting discussion, really, really interesting discussion online about the reasoning behind these increases. And I don't want to get into politics, but I do want to say, obviously, in the United States right now, there are a lot of tariffs going out for one reason or another. And a lot of people have pointed to that as the reason for Nintendo increasing their prices. And I encourage you, if that is your assumption, you should take an economics class, because I promise you that while yes, the tariff situation could have potentially been in the discussion for this, that is not the reason. The reason that Nintendo increased prices is because they could, and they knew people would still pay for it. And I think my proof for that is look at the pricing for the console itself and the games in every other region. I mean, this thing with Mario Kart and the console alone, it is $700 in Canada. That has nothing to do with the US. In Europe, it's the same thing. Every country, everywhere, it's the same
It's
thing.
all fairly
It's not the
equivalent.
US. No. And so Nintendo made the decision to price this console in the games where they did, because once again, they know that their hardcore fan base will pay for it, and they know they're not going to get pushback. But I don't know. I really am very curious to see if anything at all, because I would at least like them to comment on why they're charging $80, but I don't think they will.
No, I think it'll just, like we've been saying, that belief of this is like the Nintendo tax. It's a premium product that you're getting. And I've also been thinking, gosh, this hardware is like legitimately amazing. And historically, console manufacturers usually lose money manufacturing their consoles. And I could honestly see that for the Switch too, with everything that's packed into it. So they usually make their money back off of their software sales. I'm like, I sure hope they make their money back off of $80 releases. Like, good lord. And it'll be like a year or two, and they'll be making money off of their consoles just because they won't be as expensive to make. Like, and for the people that believe that the tariffs are really impacting this, you already just disproved that with the regional pricing globally is roughly equivalent. So we're not gonna get some magical fairy tale land where, oh, the tariffs are how they're supposed to be and Nintendo's dropping their games back to $60. That's just
Right.
not gonna happen.
Right. Right. No, no, that's the funny thing to me. It's like the tariffs aren't, when this decision was made, they weren't in effect. And yeah, Nintendo absolutely they've been moving around production to different countries to try to, best fit potential issues that may arise. But it just, I'm like, you know, let's say that the tariffs are the reason, right? And if you follow this stuff, they're not going to last. It's a negotiation tactic. They're going to go away in a couple months. And when they go away, Nintendo's not going to say, "Oh, the tariffs are gone. Great, let's go back to $70." No. This is a purposeful decision that they know that you're going to pay for it. Games, and I'm telling you, I would be willing to bet money. Ghost of Yotei will be $80. Sony and every other publisher in the industry yesterday were licking their lips in excitement and jumping for joy that Nintendo did this, because that opens the floodgates for every other publisher to charge $80. I mean, I'm sorry, but oh my God, the amount of publishers that charge 70, and I think it's ridiculous because the games are broken, and now they're going to charge 80. And I could point some fingers, because I think we've had this discussion. Like, I can count on one hand the amount of $70 games that were legitimately worth it. And for me, that was Tears of the Kingdom, genuinely blew past anything that I expected and had so much to offer. It was genuinely like one, just so much content. It was an incredible game, incredible game. And I was like, I'm completely fine paying $70 for this. And the second one was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It was like, this is a $70 release. There's over 100 hours of content. It is one of the highest quality games I've played. But you just can't say that about the rest of the industry. And there's so many publishers. It's like, yep, we're gonna release $80 game. Boom. Oh wait, it's bugged and crashing and it's in locking and you're gonna lose your save. It's just, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
And gosh, the $70 game thing. like I thought about it yesterday, and I'm pretty sure I've only bought like four $70 games, and two of those were because I'm such a big Final Fantasy fan. And I'd only say out of those, Rebirth was the one that was worth the $70 plus that I spent on it. And Atelier Yumia, the only reason I bought that for $70 is because I know they're not going to have physical copies around for long. Because I missed out on the Atelier Ryza games physically. So we're already in a weird position. Most game consumers are in a weird position with buying one hardware because most people, especially younger people, which Nintendo's focusing on, don't have jobs or have, like a minimum wage part-time job. So when you think about this $80 pricing, some like 16, 17-year-old kid, gets their first job. Here in Arkansas where I live, I think minimum wage is like 11 bucks. So you're going to have to essentially work a full 8-hour shift to get a game. And that's ignoring, well, food or if you're an adult, bills. So this is making this console and its games luxury items. And that's just not something everyone's going to be able to keep up with. I'm sure lots of people are going to be buying this console. Like everything in it is great. Some of those features are better than what we have from the Series X and PS5. And it's portable. And it has this huge, rich library of games behind it with the Switch 1. So it almost sells itself just purely off of that. But when we start jumping to, oh, I want to buy the new Mario Kart, the new Donkey Kong, well, there goes $70 and $80. And Nintendo games don't go on sale, which we were just saying, most of the $70 games we own have been, ooh, now I can get it $20, $30 on sale. And we're not going to be getting that with Nintendo. So no matter what, you're just going to have to eat cost. I guess there could maybe be, I'm not going to call this a silver lining, I'll call it a bronze lining. So if you have the online expansion stuff and you get Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild upgrades for free, are they going to just include a bunch more upgrades on that, or are we just going to get the occasional one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, I know that they said that they're gonna do free updates for I think like I don't remember the exact list, but like ARMS, Super Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, Game Builder Garage, and a couple others for are getting free upgrades, but they really haven't defined. Okay, here you go. ARMS, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Clubhouse Games, 51 Worldwide Classics, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Game Builder Garage, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, and Big Brain Academy. So it's like, that's great, but like, we don't really know what those upgrades are going to be. We don't like, and we don't know. And it's like, it says in the fine print, like, free updates to improve playability on the Nintendo Switch 2 system will be released for select Nintendo games. You can download free updates by connecting to the internet that may improve performance or add support for features such as game share. So it's like, I just don't really know what to expect because, are we going to be getting, okay, high resolution and frame rate? And like, because that's great. But then it makes me be like, okay, then why are you charging for Zelda and, all this stuff? I mean, I just don't know. It doesn't make sense because Zelda, they showed the Zelda Notes app and it's cool, right? It's cool. I think it's cool that you can go and like it helps you figure out where stuff is, and I think that's neat. You can go into different areas and hear like voice memos from certain characters, like Zelda. It's cool, kind of get more immersive stuff into the world. But it's like, is that really worth you know paying for an upgrade? And more so, the more baffling thing to me is this. Like, if we could talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 edition games for a minute. The the problem that I have with them, and here's the thing, right? You're if you look at it from an overview standpoint of like, yeah, you know what? It's the base game plus, $10 to upgrade for the Zeldas. Okay, makes sense. Like, yeah, it's just a $10 upgrade. Why are you charging $60 for a almost 10-year-old game? Like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Breath of the Wild is a Wii U title. Breath of the Wild has this is the third console that Breath of the Wild has been on. Like, the fact that Nintendo is charging full price for these games, because here's what they should have done. I said this to a friend of mine, and I think this is what they should have done. I, I can't even speak. What they should have done is they should have put Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in one bundle for $70 and released it. And I think that would have been way, way better. You put those as Nintendo Switch 2 editions, and you're like, hey, you're picking up a Nintendo Switch 2, but you haven't bought a Nintendo Switch. Here, just pick up the bundle. You get both games on two carts, even maybe, right? You get both games and you can just play them together. I mean, we saw that Square Enix did this with Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth with the twin pack, right? $70 for both, right? I mean, it was awesome. And I just wish that Nintendo would embrace this because I think that that would have gone over so much better than trying to charge a combined $150 for two games.
And they're great games, but that's a hard pill to swallow even for a newcomer. This would have been we mentioned Nintendo Selects last week. This would have been the perfect opportunity to bring Nintendo Selects back. Like, oh, now some of these big legendary Switch titles you can walk into a store and get for like $40. And then if you get a Switch 2, a $10 upgrade would be easier to swallow, but at least some of them are getting free updates, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's I I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I think that, you know, I don't care if Tears of the Kingdom is like the best game of all time. I really don't. It shouldn't be $70 at this point. It just shouldn't be. Same thing with Breath of the Wild. I don't care if Breath of the Wild changed open world games forever. It shouldn't be $70. And this is a losing battle that we're just not going to win. They're going to charge this, and we're not going to be able to change it. And I think that there definitely needs to be a broader discussion, though. Nintendo's evaluation of the value of their software. Nintendo has a problem that they don't see depreciation. Depreciation doesn't exist for Nintendo. Like, Breath of the Wild was a $60 game when it released, and it's still a $60 game today. They don't put these games on sale. They go on sale maybe once a year, and it's like, okay, you can get, $15 off. Like, wow, what a great deal. Thank you, Nintendo. It's like, that's why I'll be honest, like, with the Switch, I definitely had some success getting secondhand games for if I get something from a review and I'm like, oh man, I really want a physical, I'll just buy it secondhand, and so I'll get the physical, and I can get that for usually in the $30 to $40 range, and I'm fine with that. But with when I'm buying a game for Nintendo, which happens very frequently, it's like I just buy it because what's the point of waiting to save $10? You know what I mean? It's stupid. And I hate that they're the only company that does this, but it's just reality. I mean, I it's just crazy. They did this to themselves. Like, this is my takeaway from everything. Like, Nintendo did this to themselves. They shot themselves in the foot because instead of just having, here's what they should have done, right? You should have mass reprinted Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby, all these games, right? And you should have sold them as Nintendo Switch games and pack in an upgrade, right? And just say, hey, at retail, you can buy the upgrade and it's $20. Because instead of charging $80 for Tears of the Kingdom, you're only have to sell a $20 upgrade. And the bad press that's happening right now, like, this is 100%, of course it's their fault, but it is 100% their fault when they chose to put these games at $70 and $80 when there were multiple solutions to not do that and still charge the same amount. You know what I mean?
Uh, like we've been seeing, I feel like just that COVID era where game spending was through the roof really just broke a lot of companies' brains. They saw all this extra money and income, and we just haven't hit those highs again because people actually had extra spending money during that time. They weren't really going out to do things, they didn't really have a bunch of stuff to buy, and we were getting checks from the government. So, no wonder all that luxury spending went up, and now all these companies are charging more for games, and we know everyone else is going to follow suit with this pricing model. And we get it. Games are expensive to produce, among a million other factors. But when you look at most games, and I'm not trying to diss Nintendo here. All their games look excellent with great art direction, but you look at one of these games and you know that it's not as expensive to make as something like even a Last of Us 2, which launched at $60, albeit Sony has their remaster disease. But now it
Yeah,
looks like
Last
Nintendo
of Us Two
has
remake's coming.
almost has that same disease with these upgrade passes and re-releasing the same game for like a higher price.
Yeah, I just I don't know, man. It's so baffling. Like it's so baffling to sit here and just see, yeah, guys, Kirby in the Forgotten Land is more expensive than Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like I just I understand, but I also just don't understand how this made sense to Nintendo. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? What did you think the reaction was gonna be? I don't understand it. And, I totally agree with like, the COVID spending. And yeah, you're absolutely spot on with like that these games are just not as expensive as others. And that's another thing that makes me laugh is like, there are Nintendo fans defending this, which is crazy, which is crazy. I'm like, I am a huge Nintendo fan, like more so like I overlook a lot of stuff they do, and I'll admit it, I do. But at the same time, like, it when stuff like this happens, and 90% of the time when they do something wrong, I will call them out on it always. And this is crazy. I don't know how anyone can defend this. And it's just, they're like, oh, Nintendo, they have to support their developers, the development team. It's more expensive now, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not saying that's not true, but let's look at the facts. Nintendo wasn't spending $315 million on a game. They're not. And I just don't. Again, it all boils down to the fact that Nintendo was like, okay, this is a premium release. You guys paid $70 for Breath of the Wild. Now pay 80. I mean, or for Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom was the trial run. And in retrospect, when that was a $70, I think all of us were like, okay, Nintendo is testing the water to see, like, yeah, are people going to pay $70 for our games for the next generation? No, they were testing the waters of, are people willing to pay more than the base price for premium releases? And this is what we get for that.
Yeah, since it's clear they're considering 70 the new standard. So then, hey, premium quality, you got that Nintendo seal on it. 10 more dollars.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's so stupid because I was thinking about this. Like, I'm curious what your thoughts are. What games do you think will be $80? So Mario Kart will be. This 3D Zelda. I think 3D Zelda and Zelda and Mario will be $80. And maybe it's just me, but Nintendo considers Splatoon and Animal Crossing like some of the biggest franchises it has. I'd be willing to bet both of those are $80 too.
I'm inclined to agree. I honestly think most games that aren't going to be like future remasters or something are going to fall into that $80 umbrella. I just genuinely can't think of any reason for them to not charge 80. And if they're not
Oh,
charging 80, then they'll charge 70.
I I I I don't know that I would agree with all most games that aren't remasters because like Donkey Kong is a huge game and that's $70. So
My
I mean
thing with
I
that one is we've been hearing like rumblings of like a new Donkey Kong for a long time. So there's a part of me that's scared that's just, oh, we've been making this for like 5 years or something, 6 years to really get like, because this is like a fresh design for Donkey Kong, like a new vision for how they play. So I feel like they'd been working on this since like early Switch,
yeah. Yeah.
and
I
I,
mean,
I
this is
think it's
definitely
just
the
a
3D Mario
leftover
team.
price.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I think what I will say, I was thinking about this, Metroid Prime 4 is going to be very telling because there's a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of that game. We don't know when it's coming out. We don't know the pricing yet, but you can expect $60 for the Switch version. However, like if Nintendo comes out of the gate and charges 80 for Metroid Prime 4, I think you can expect that that's going to be the price for everything going forward. But if they charge 70, I would expect that, most of their, IPs are going to be $70 with the big ones being 80 because, like I don't know. I don't see them charging like $80 for Xenoblade 4. I don't.
Oh yeah, speaking of Xenoblade, where's our upgrades?
No, dude. Oh my God. Don't even get me started. Yeah, I I'm really curious what this ends up doing, but I think I will say if I'm right and this $80 thing is their super high end releases of like Mario Kart, Zelda, 3D Mario, Animal Crossing, Splatoon, and I'm not. This is not a good situation at all. I'm miserable that it happened, but that is a better scenario than if this were Sony because every game will be $80 with Sony. I think that if Nintendo at least is going to have some price variability, so I think that you're going to see $70 releases, and we might even see some $50 and $60 releases for smaller games. I mean, we saw that on Switch. So I don't know. It's just this is something that didn't need to happen, and it did because Nintendo chose not to talk about pricing at all in the presentation, and they left it for the end. And it's like, I mean, I'm sure you felt the same way. It's like I finished watching the direct, and it's like every hour, just more and more bad news just kept coming out, and more and more and more, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Like it really turns from like a dream come true to this bittersweetness that I just can't really get out of my mouth. Because there's just so much right with all of this. The hardware upgrades, amazing. Competitive. Their new software, like when I was first watching, the opener with Mario Kart World, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks nice. Oh wow, you like the Nintendo YouTube videos are in 4K 60 now. The game looks smooth even through YouTube. This is gonna be great. And then you see the new mechanics of getting on the walls and rails and stuff, and just the sheer scale, and then all the extra costumes, and you're like, yes, this is like a new, amazing Mario Kart experience that I want to play. And you don't get to hear any of that pricing stuff really. You see more of these amazing ports and stuff coming, new games. And then just after the direct, the dust is settling. Everyone seems pretty satisfied. Then we get slapped with $80 games. And it's sad that something like that is what is making us adopt this kind of wait and see mentality with how things are going to go.
yeah. No, I do think the wait and see mentality is what we're headed towards. Just because it's like, yeah, it's a mess, dude. It's a mess, and it's like again, this is I can't stress it enough. This was completely avoidable. It was completely avoidable, and I kind of want to move on from the pricing because there are a couple other things I want to. Or actually, before I do, Nintendo charging, $90 for Joy-Con 2, $80 for
Oof.
Pro Controller, $80 for a carrying case. I mean, it just feels like a spit in the face to the consumer.
I guess we'll have to wait on all those third party licensors to start producing some stuff.
Maybe they'll be $120. That'd be awesome.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I just
I need my
uh,
super premium Switch dock that I'm getting off Amazon that has all these extra features.
the dock is $110, by the way.
At least I can swallow the new dock price a lot easier than the old dock. Because the old Switch dock, yeah, I don't want to go pay $90 for what's essentially a hunk of plastic with a USB and HDMI header in it. At least this new dock has a cooling system and everything.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I wasn't expecting the fan, so I think that's great that they added that. And I will say one last thing that just popped in my mind. I've seen a lot of people outcry about, Nintendo is charging a certain amount. It's like 334 US dollars converted to, it's like, I think it's like 49,000 yen, in Japan. But that console is only playable, with a Japanese Nintendo Switch account. So it's people have taken that as, oh, it's region locked. It's not region locked. The games can be played anywhere, but they are selling a Japanese only console, and they're also selling a multi-language console in Japan that is like 500 US dollars. And the reason for this is nothing to do with world economics. It's simply the fact that the yen is so weak right now that, with Switch, and especially, I could go to Japan and buy a Nintendo Switch for like $200, right? Like that's crazy. You're losing so much. There are, the value is so different here and there. And I think that a lot of the countries around Japan, like Korea and stuff, I think there was a lot of stock bought on Switch at a cheaper price with the Japanese yen. And I think that that's probably the reason that they did this. And I think it's a great thing that they did this because, you know, this is going to allow Japanese consumers to buy in. And despite the really bad yen rate right now, it's at an affordable price for them, and the rest of the world isn't going to be able to jump in and take advantage of it, right? So I think that that's a good thing. I think that there's definitely some overreactions. I think that like I've seen people be like, "Oh, well, so the console was supposed to be $300 everywhere else." Like, no, the problem is that they priced it the same. And actually, like if the yen was what it was when Switch One launched, 49,000 yen would be like $490, or just maybe a little under that. And the yen being so weak, like you have to do something about it. So I think that what they did was the right way of doing things. But it is ironic looking at that and thinking about how much the games are going to cost in Japan. And then you look at, Canada, the US, Europe. It's like, it's not even close because of the exchange rate.
At least they're taking care of their home nation to make sure that
And
they
they
can get
should.
these games.
They
A
should.
Japanese company should prioritize Japanese consumers. The rest of the world we're hopping on because we like it. So I'm perfectly fine with that. And, the past couple years, because of the weekend, we have seen stories come out of, oh man, like these consoles or specific games are just, their Japanese versions are selling out, leaving Japanese consumers without them, just for people to come back and scalp or resale in other countries.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we're gonna have that for our fellow Japanese Nintendo enjoyers. Plus, like the Switch is like solid gold over there, so they definitely want that market to provide.
Yeah. I mean, they're the market leader, and they're the market leader worldwide. So it's like, that's why all the stuff we're talking about pricing, that's why it's so crazy because, I just can't help but feel that this leaves opportunities for other companies to swoop in, right? But in terms of like, Japan, yeah, they're far and away the market leader in Japan. So it's like it makes total sense that they're going to try to get people to adopt the Switch 2 as fast as possible. And I think really, beyond all this pricing stuff, I have a very big problem with one other thing,
Oh,
and that is the box art. It's terrible.
oh,
It's terrible. I don't understand. Like, all right, so let me. There's definitely a couple things with physical games that we could talk about, but specifically with the box art, I don't understand. Like, we have this giant red horizontal banner at the top, and it looks tacky. Like, I want to see the game art. That's why we buy physical games. I want to see the game art. I want to, have this stuff. And it's like you have this giant red banner at the top, and you have this tiny Nintendo Switch 2 logo. It's like, why do you not just put that in the corner? I don't understand that. And my other problem with it is like, on the Nintendo Switch 2 edition games, the entire bottom of the art is covered up with text of "Whoa, Switch 2 game, blah 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 blah." It's like, why? Like, why? Like, I
We have
don't
the back of the
understand.
box for a reason, guys.
No,
We used to
seriously,
even have the stuff called paper inserts or pamphlets inside them.
it's so baffling. And I think that there has been Nintendo does have. Okay, wait, they're not doing this for one thing, and that is they're called game keys. I think is what they're called. But so they introduced a new concept for certain physical games, and a lot of people on Twitter, especially, have kind of ran wild with this. As like, this is all the games now. And it's not. So I want to make that
No.
clear if you're listening. Essentially, so on Nintendo Switch, you have all kinds of games, right? We've got games that are fully on the cart, and we've got games that have that stupid download required banner at the bottom, right? So instead of continuing that philosophy, Nintendo is just making this new thing called game keys, and the developer can just say, okay, we're doing a game key. And just like that game cart download required thing, you just have you just insert it, and you have a download. And this is how PlayStation 5 games work. This is how certain Nintendo Switch games work. This is not how all games are going to work. But for games where either the publisher doesn't want to pay for the cart, or, the game, there's just not enough storage. This is what's going to happen. And, I understand people getting upset about this. Like, I will say, Square Enix, I don't know what you're doing putting Bravely Default HD remaster. It's 11 gigabytes. That is a game key. That is so
Are you kidding me?
stupid.
That's
It's
like
so
only 3 or 4
stupid.
gigs bigger than the 3DS game.
It's so stupid. I don't understand that whatsoever. Capcom, same thing. Man up, put the Street Fighter 6 game on a cart. That's stupid. But beyond that, it's like Cyberpunk is putting all Cyberpunk 2077 coming to Switch all on one singular 64 gigabyte cart, no download required. It's like, if CD Projekt Red's doing that, Square Enix, get off your butt and put this on a cart. It's stupid. I think the game key thing, my worry with it is that this is going to let publishers be super lazy and just not pay for the carts. And then it's like, what's the point of buying a physical, because it's
Because then
just a
I'm just getting a
DRM.
box. I'm just
Right.
getting a box.
Right. And so it's like, I that's definitely a concern. But I will say, I think that this concern that, game keys are the only thing that we're getting with Switch 2 is super overblown. But I will say, with third party developers, there needs to be a push on the consumer side of like, no, we want our games on cart, because like Square Enix is so ridiculous. Like, that is so ridiculous. I'm sorry. I I can't even begin. 11 gigabytes. I don't care that the carts are more expensive. Put it on the cart. Like, that's so stupid.
What happened to all these companies taking slight losses or shaving a few cents off their profit to give us a better product that we're more satisfied with? What happened
They
to
don't
that?
care. It's all about penny pinching. It's so stupid, man.
We gotta save 0.001%. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get it, and there's gonna have to be games that need it, but and here's my thing: if Cyberpunk 2077 is all on one cart, every game smaller than that should be on one cart. Like, I'm sorry, like, that's one of the biggest RPGs that's gonna be on Switch. If that game is going all on cart, no download required, every publisher that has a smaller game should be doing the same. I mean, we're not talking about indie developers, right? I think that there's absolutely a fair point of like, hey, you know, XYZ from indie developer, we're doing a game key because, it's just too expensive and we're not going to get enough profit from just a stand, paying for the cart because these carts for the next couple years at least until we get probably until about year three, the carts are going to be pretty expensive, and that's completely fair. But I think it's just crazy that like these AAA publishers, like these billion-dollar companies are whining and doing, oh, we're gonna do the game key. Like that's so dumb, man.
There's a part of me that almost wonders if some of them are doing this to test the waters on Switch 2 to see if they want to go all in on true physical carts. But it's ridiculous when Bravely Default and Street Fighter 6 are a couple of these front runners, both already proven games. I guess the Switch 2 isn't technically proven yet. I wonder if some of these companies could also be like, man, Nintendo's crazy for charging 80. We're going to do that here in a couple months, but let's throw these game keys in these boxes to see how this goes for a few months.
Yeah,
But who
I,
knows?
I I'm really concerned now because I was expecting that this wasn't going to be an issue. Because we've had Capcom's released plenty of games that were fully on the cart, and it just seems like that's gonna go away, and that's not a good thing, and I'm not happy about it. But I
Is
mean,
FF7
I
Remake going to be a game key?
no, that's what I was gonna say. There's no way that Square is gonna put that on the card if they're not putting Bravely Default. Like that's and it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. Like oh my gosh, man.
Because this really does devalue us being physical collectors. Because I'd love to go buy Bravely Default on cartridge. I still have my 3DS box and cartridge. That'd be awesome to put on a shelf space. But now I'm like, well, maybe I'll just buy it digitally and go on Etsy and have someone give me a box for $10.
Dude, but see, that's the problem. That's why I'm so mad about this. Like between Nintendo's crappy physical box art and the game key stuff, like, and also them charging more for physicals in Europe, I feel like that this is that like they're trying to get people to move away from physical, and it's so ridiculous
And they
because
make more money off digital games.
they
That's
do.
another thing I was thinking. They get much higher margins. And now they're $80.
Right. And I think that with the physical game thing, it's just ironic because physical games are such a huge market. Like like it's still the more people buy physical than digital on Switch,
Hmm.
right? Like as of right now. So it just feels like a slap in the face to consumers and to people who buy your games to do this game, and the game key stuff is just a redefinition of the download stuff. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily have a problem with it, but I do have a problem with it because this is now opening the door of like, okay, this is the official language, so we could just do this, and we don't have to worry about putting it on anything on a card. So I think that's ridiculous. But I just can't help but sit back and just be like, dang, man, like it's so dumb that I feel like they're just trying to get people to move away from it. And they're like, you know what, let's make the crappiest physical box art possible so people don't even want to buy it.
It is honestly really ugly looking. We legit have like, I'm looking at some of these box arts. We have this big, legit like a fifth of the box is taken up by this big red bar at the top, and then all the info stuff at the bottom for like these game key editions. So what's
Yeah.
going on the back of the box? A bunch of
I,
other stuff where we get like one screenshot.
yeah.
I,
I really don't know, man.
I'll give them, I guess, the red box is kind of nice. We have the PlayStation Blue boxes and Xbox Green boxes. So I guess I kind of like having the box actually be red. But gosh. Can we like sneak into like Nintendo HQ and change their like Photoshop files for these?
Yeah, please. 'Cause I've seen someone do a fan one that was really good, and it's like they just had the Switch 2 like it is now, like just in the corner, and it's like great. Like if and I even was telling a friend of mine last night, it's like Xbox actually has something different where they kind of have this like white little parallelogram in the top left corner that just kind of has the Xbox, whatever platform it's on. Like, I wouldn't even be mad about that. I just think that taking up the entire like top fifth is so dumb. Like, it's so dumb. But especially, it would look a lot better if they didn't have that tiny logo. But at the same time, it's like you have that tiny logo and you're compromising the box art. It's like, no, like make your logo smaller, make the banner smaller. Like, let's shine and put. I want to see Big Boy DK, man. I want to see that cool box art. Like, I want that kind of stuff. I don't want to deal with like, yeah, guys, let's look at our banner. Look at this red banner. And I will say, I think the transparent red box is really cool. I was really wondering what they're gonna do and how they're gonna make it different. That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. It'll look really cool next to the white copies for Switch. But at the same time, I'm like, gosh, man, like we just can't get anything right. We just can't.
I also want to say this. I get I get the angle they're coming at this from. They want people to know for sure that this is a Nintendo Switch 2 game, that this could be a like a key card, this could be whatever. They want all of that front and center for less informed consumers. But the gaming communities, like some of the most informed user bases that you can find for products like this. And I personally just feel like no one's ever been confused looking at like a PS4 or a PS3 box. And if there's issues, they're gonna Google them or ask someone that they know is more knowledgeable than them. I get that they want to prevent confusion, but I think it comes at a cost because people are buying physicals for this box. You want it to look nice. Like, isn't it nice to just be able to go over to your shelf, pull off your copy of FF7 Rebirth, and just look at the box instead of
Yeah.
having all this stuff thrown on the front? And you, like, have you ever seen that Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow like re-release for the DS? Where it's like
Yes.
Konami Best or something, and it has the DS border, then like a Photoshop picture of the actual old case in
Yes.
the middle.
Yes.
We're getting into that turf, albeit not as bad.
No, it just makes me disappointed, man, because it's like I really think that Nintendo Switch box art was really good. It was really good. Like, I think Switch did a great job. I've got, probably 70, 80 physical games for Switch. I've got a whole little couple areas on my shelves for, Xenoblade and stuff. And that box art looks so nice. And it's like, gosh, I'm just sitting there imagining like, man, this is gonna look so terrible with all these red banners and you could barely see the box art. It's just so, and then like in Metroid Prime's case, or the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild $80 games, it's like, you're looking at these, it's like, okay, not only do you have this giant red banner, you have this giant text blurb at the bottom. It's like, what's the point of even have like, I just feel like that they're trying to make it so terrible that you don't want to buy it.
It
I
feels like
really
I'm
do.
buying an advertisement rather than a game.
100%. But I think overall, unless we missed anything, I really do think that that's that summarizes my thoughts on what really disappointed me yesterday, and really overall just kind of soured things because you know I think with every passing hour things got less and less exciting. But I mean, Nintendo and the Switch 2 are seriously exciting, and I would like to turn the page to the positive side of this discussion, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered our grievances, and to be fair, I'm still really really excited for the Switch 2.
Yes,
It's just these
super,
caveats.
100%. And it's like I hate to say that, like, oh, I don't want this to blow over. Like, I think that we as consumers should be, something I saw today. So they had the Treehouse. It's going on right now as we're recording this. The Treehouse live Switch 2 showcase thing, and the entire comments of 100,000 people watching, lower the prices, drop the prices, drop the prices, drop the prices, and I'm like, that's great, and I'm really glad to see that because, like I said, I think Nintendo fans online have a tendency to defend anything the company does. But I think that was great to see. But is it really going to matter in the end? Probably not, because these are the people that are going to buy the games anyways. It's like you're going to buy Mario Kart anyways. Like, what's the point?
Well,
Yeah. Beyond that, Switch 2 is I said this earlier, but Nintendo did everything besides the stuff we said. Everything that they needed to do, and it is incredibly exciting. And I think we should start with the hardware, and then we can move to software. But the Switch 2 hardware is above and beyond what I thought it was going to be. Um, and I'm very, very, very happy with it.
me too. Like, we got that teaser a little while back, but actually seeing some of this in action and getting closer looks, first off, just aesthetically, I get the, like, that dark, like, charcoal gray might be a bit dull to some, but I just like the way the system has nice contours. It just looks sleek. It feels new.
It does. And I thought it was a really good detail from Nintendo. I say let's kind of work in between all the different features and go over them. I think the thing that I was really happy to see was that it is the same thickness as the Nintendo Switch right now. And
Definitely.
that wasn't something that I was really thinking about, but I'm really impressed that they were able to do that.
It is impressive. We see Apple every year, like, we're making our phones thinner. And it's like, well, I don't need it to be thinner. And Nintendo packed all this new hardware, all this horsepower into something that's roughly the same size. It's just a bit broader.
Absolutely. And I think that the design overall, I really like the fact that I will say I saw they showed a couple instances of people playing with it, and I'm like, I got big hands, so I'm like, I am really appreciative of the fact that this thing is much bigger than the original Switch. The Joy Cons are like huge compared to the older ones, and I think that this will be a much more comfortable portable experience overall.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the sticks being a bit bigger because sometimes those Joy-Con sticks in portable mode just felt like my thumb could just slide off them or just disappear underneath the bulk of my hands. Just
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I also think that the um, really underrated feature that no one's really, I haven't seen many people talk about, is the fact that they increased the size of the SL and the SR buttons on the sides of the Joy-Con, because those were notoriously small
oh
on the
yeah.
original Joy-Con, and I think that's so nice that they're much bigger now. And yeah, I mean, I'm really glad about that. But beyond design stuff, right? I really want to dive into the technology that's
Mm-hmm.
powering this. So, we won't know for sure until the people get their hands on it and dissect the Switch. But it's assumed, and we know it's an NVIDIA chip. We assume it's the Tegra T239, which has been rumored forever. But so we got huge confirmation of features, and we'll start with the stuff from the direct, and we'll move to what has been confirmed since. So we have a 1080p screen, and that's a
Already
huge,
big res
huge
bump.
difference. And I think that people don't realize how much of a difference that's going to make. Right now, granted, yes, 720p, it looks great if you do it right, but I think in this case, it's really going to make a difference because these games look so crisp. They look so crisp,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm really really excited to play some of these older Nintendo Switch games on the new one and kind of see like what they look like on handheld.
And just like I said earlier, seeing like Nintendo game YouTube videos at 4K 60, YouTube decimates quality. However, gosh, seeing Breath of the Wild that crisp through the internet, I can't wait
No,
to
dude.
actually see it on the console
I
because
was I
it's gonna
was
look better.
yeah, dude.
Anything that we saw in this direct that we thought looked amazing, crisp, fluid, is gonna look so much better running on this hardware.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was like, "Oh my gosh," because I looked at the direct and I was like, "Whoa!" Like they're streaming in 4K. They've never done this before. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was. They get to the Tears of the Kingdom stuff, and I'm like, "This looks like a completely different game." Like the resolution and the frame rate bump have done wonders. And I will say, not a bad thing, but I really didn't realize how much worse Breath of the Wild looked than Tears of the Kingdom.
There's a
I
lot
really
less
didn't.
going on.
Oh, 100%. It just looked much less like yeah, I don't know. I realized that yesterday. I was like, I haven't looked at those games side by side in so long. Like it's crazy. My remembering of both of those experiences is a lot different, I think, than reality. But yeah, so 1080p screen, uh really great, really great. And also kind of on the panel, so it is an LCD panel. I know that that's disappointing to some. I'm an OLED Switch user, OLED diehard. I was not happy hearing that we didn't get an OLED panel. But everything that we've seen, and there have been press previews that have come out. Everyone is raving about this panel. Apparently, it looks amazing in person, which is great. And I think from everything that we've seen, a huge part of that is HDR support,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. And it's funny because a couple weeks ago there was a leak or a rumor that Nintendo Switch 2 would have HDR support, VRR, and a 120 hertz panel. And every Digital Foundry said it wasn't. It was no, no, that's not gonna happen. Everyone was like, no, no, no. But I was like, I could see it. And so when they showed up on there and they're like 120 FPS, I'm like, oh shoot,
That
like
was like such a
we're really
big
doing
shock for
this
me
for
because,
real.
I came out of the gate expecting 60 and I was happy to see 60. Then they're like, well, some games are going to have 120 FPS. And I'm just sitting here thinking, no way. But it's awesome. And I hope they go hard into this 120 FPS support because it's kind of disappointing that a bunch of even PS5 games don't support it.
Yeah, I mean, here's kind of my view on it, and I think that you're gonna see like Super Mario Bros. Wonder will get 100. 2D
Hmm.
platformers from Nintendo should will probably all have 120 FPS support, which is awesome. The fact that Metroid Prime 4 has it is amazing. It's so so cool, and I'm really looking forward to that. But more over besides the 120 frames per second being a 120 hertz panel, this kind of opens the door to something that PlayStation has done on some of their games, which is 40 frame per second mode. And
Ah,
that's a big difference from 30 FPS. And I know that people will be like, no, it's not. Trust
it
me.
is.
I played Ratchet
Truly
and Clank
is.
Rift Apart on the between the 30 and the 40 FPS mode. It is night and day. That game feels so much more fluid at 40 FPS. It really does make a difference. And the reason I bring that up is because CD Projekt Red, from press previews, have confirmed that Cyberpunk they have a quality mode at 30 FPS and a performance mode. The performance mode is at 40 FPS. So I think that you're going to see a lot of third party developers look at that 40 FPS range and look at that as a mode. And it's funny, I really wasn't expecting quality and performance modes with this console, but I'm kind of glad we're getting it. I think that's good. And I think it's going to open up a lot of doors. But yeah, I mean, 40 FPS with the 120 hertz screen is a big deal. It really is.
And that also just means you're not going to get, like, if they're done correctly and developers support these well, you're not going to get that big of a drop on your portable experience from your home experience. You'll still be
Nope.
able to get, like, because 40 outright feels so much better than 30. It also looks better. And since it's in that 120 FPS container or hertz container, 40's perfectly divisible into 120, so you're not going to get any weird hitching or frame stutters. It's just going to be fluid.
Yep.
And
It's so
if
much better.
if Cyberpunk, if CD Projekt Red is opting to do 40 for their performance mode, then I feel like that means that they have a bit of overhead for the Switch 2.
For sure.
So I
Well,
feel like it could lock.
I agree. Here's the interesting thing for me, and this is crazy. Apparently, so they have Cyberpunk at the Nintendo Switch 2 Tour Experience thing that you can play, and Press have previewed it yesterday. But apparently, the build for Cyberpunk on Switch, only 7 weeks of development so far into it,
Dang.
and it's running like that, which should tell you a lot. Which I think means that this game might even look and perform better at launch, right? 7 week build is crazy. So yeah, it's really good. It's in that I think that is very, very, very exciting information for just thinking about third party games. If Cyberpunk, which is remember the PS4 release, right? If
Oh,
that game is able to
do
run,
I have to remember that?
if that game is able to get running on Switch 2 in 7 weeks, like I really think that this opens the door to almost anything. I really do.
This is also the first time we're getting Madden on a Nintendo
It
console
is.
in like
It is.
over a
That's a
decade.
big deal. That's a big deal. I mean, now granted, I would rather college football, but I mean, that's fine. But yeah, it's a big deal. And I mean, the third party support yesterday was astounding. And
Oh
we'll
yeah.
definitely get to the games. But I also want to say the other thing that is really, really, really exciting is VRR. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, VRR is it's going to be available on handheld mode. And not only is it VRR, it was confirmed this morning, and this is kind of new stuff that, wasn't available yesterday. We had no idea. But my goodness, not only is it VRR, variable refresh rate via NVIDIA G-Sync. So we have G-Sync technology in portable mode for the Nintendo Switch 2.
That crispness. We're just so leaving that era of hitching, stutters, and messed
We
up
are.
frame rates.
No more screen tearing, thank God.
And G-Sync, probably like the best technology for that. Like I love it on my monitor, and I'm glad I'll be able to use it on a Nintendo console of all things.
Yeah, dude. I
That's
mean,
what's really crazy. Because
this
most
is
of these
why.
games already run great. So I wonder if they'll be a bit more experimental with that 120 FPS mode.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, this is why I'm so glad that Nvidia is Nintendo's partner, just because it's like, I mean, oh my gosh, dude. Like Nvidia is so just ahead of everyone else right now. And I'm really glad because I think that what they've been able to do for Nintendo is so much. And, part of that beyond G-Sync and now granted, this is where things get interesting. So Digital Foundry put out their video last night, analyzing the direct, and according to Digital Foundry, there were not one instance of DLSS in the direct, which for me last night had my head spinning. I'm like, okay, Nintendo, I like if this console doesn't have DLSS, like I'm gonna have issues because this was the big thing for the console forever. But thankfully, this morning Nvidia put out an article talking about Switch 2 and confirmed that not only does it have ray tracing support, but it has DLSS support as well. And so that, to talk a little bit about that, it's described that there are dedicated RT cores and tensor cores. And, part of the stuff that they're going to be doing, NVIDIA says that Switch 2 has 10 times the graphics performance of Switch.
It's
Do we
so
believe
exciting.
that? I don't know.
I,
I don't know that I
game,
believe that
game
after the
consoles are
5,000.
game consoles are definitely weird. Like it probably can't always achieve that 10 times. That's probably like
No,
looking at
that's
best scenario.
exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
definitely even double would have been really satisfactory. But if we're at worst getting like half of that 10 times, like on a case by case basis, that's still great, especially over the Switch 1.
No, 100%. Yeah, and it's really interesting because not only are so and again, DLSS, we did not apparently see it during the direct, which to me is there to I have a couple things to say about that. So one, I actually think it's a good thing if we didn't see it. And the
Same.
reason is I was I think that there can be on PC ports especially a very heavy over reliance on DLSS of
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to optimize the game. It runs like crap. We'll just use AI to upscale it and then you don't have to worry about it running well. And I'm glad it seems like at least every game that we saw is not using it and it's running natively that well, which I think bodes really well for, there's definitely a chance that the technology just wasn't available to developers because apparently Nintendo's going to be sending out now that it's revealed like this month dev kits are going out to everyone. So I almost wonder if like DLSS is something that's going to start to be developed now, and if we're having Elden Ring running, apparently Elden Ring was running at 1080p 30, and Digital Foundry thinks that there's potential that it was recorded at 30 FPS even though the game runs at 60. So
Hmm.
Elden Ring runs really well on the Switch, which is really impressive. Cyberpunk, same thing. So if those games are running natively as they are, and also FF7 Remake Intergrade,
Oh yeah.
1080p 30 is what that was running at apparently. Those games are running like that natively. Think about what DLSS is going to do for them. But in my eyes, I think that it's great that they are prioritizing native running because that's way better and bodes much faster for DLSS. Like it's just much better overall because, the native support should be the priority, not relying on AI to do the
Mm-hmm.
work.
And I'm glad that we can still continue to count on Nintendo for optimization. And if third parties are gonna follow that same route for the Switch 2, I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think it just makes a lot of sense. And, another really interesting thing that they kind of showed off yesterday, and it kind of went over people's heads, but, this is something that the tensor cores, the AI, the stuff that powers the AI inside the chip, this is stuff that they're using. But there's actually AI driven noise cancellation. And
Mm-hmm.
not only is there AI driven noise cancellation, which is, by the way, this is something that came out in the blog today, and I like it's crazy, and it makes a lot of sense after seeing it in work. So they debuted this game chat feature, where you can go in and uh, you know have plug in a camera and play with friends, and have your face pop up in different games. Well, they're actually using the tensor cores in the chip to basically the tensor cores are basically powering a custom NVIDIA broadcast. So NVIDIA broadcast is something you have on PC where it actually will use tensor cores in your GPU to remove your background completely or you could put a photo behind you and it's way more accurate than something like Zoom. It looks so much better. And so they're actually using this to have not only are they removing the background, they're actually face tracking too, which is really cool.
Just man. First, I gotta come out and say, yeah, we were really close to what that C button was. We were
Mm-hmm.
so close, but gosh, just the new game chat stuff. There's so many interesting things around it. Much like you just brought up the camera and the mic. Like actually being able to have custom setups to see your friends while playing, and you don't even gotta be playing the same games. You can look at them, look at their gameplay, send your own stuff over. It's just a nice little community thing that you can do. Like maybe I just want to sit here and me and a buddy play through two completely different games. And it was honestly mind blowing seeing their like presentation on that, where dude just has his Switch and his dock like 10 feet away from him, and they're like, "Yeah, this thing's like a directional mic that's cutting out like the blender in the background." And that's such a far cry from like the dual senses mic
Oh
that
my
they
god.
use.
Oh my god. Dude, I have a funny thing I have to say about that. So, I'll get on, if I'm calling someone on Discord, we're playing a game. I have a friend who plays a lot on controller, and I feel like every time every once in a while, we'll play once a month or something. Whenever I call him, he always, for whatever reason, like the DualSense mic is the primary mic when he plugs it into his PC, and so it just sounds so terrible. It's so bad, man. Like,
It's like a
uh,
2005 cell phone.
no, it is.
Like,
It really, really is. But no, I agree. Like, it's really impressive, and I think that's such a great use of the feature set that Nvidia has provided Nintendo. Like being able to cancel out, just solely focus on the voice, and also have that background removal and face tracking is awesome.
because those Mario Party mini games looked really interesting. It's like a better Connect.
Yeah, 10 years, 15 years later.
The Connect is back.
That's what cracked me up. I will say on the camera thing, it was just like, man, like this is something that like the Xbox 360 was like. I remember playing Connect Adventures, the one where you kind of like bounce and you were on the raft and
Yep.
stuff. Like, yeah, and that one was fun, but it was like, man, like that's the type of stuff I played as a kid with like the camera stuff. And then the Connect on Xbox One was like a huge, like they just abandoned it. And so to see Nintendo be like, yeah, 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 we're gonna have a camera on our console. You can plug in a camera. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're really just going back to Connect. It's so funny.
But oh, did you see that like piranha plant camera that you can get?
Yes, yeah, yeah, Hori. Well, I will say I think it's great on the camera stuff. They actually clarified in the press release that you can plug in any USB-C camera and it'll work,
Oh
which I think is
yeah,
great. It's
because I
great.
think like some Nvidia like technology stuff. I
Hmm.
saw this in like the VTubing community a couple years ago, where a lot of them would have to use like an iPhone with Face ID for a while. But then like Nvidia's like, well, if you get like it might have been the 30 series cards or something, you can use like any webcam to use our features. Which that's awesome. That's just yet another reason why this Nintendo Nvidia partnership has been just so great. We're getting good hardware, and now Nintendo's like, we can utilize this stuff to really create a unique experience.
100%, dude. Yeah, it really is great, and I'm super super pumped about it. Um, and talking else on, we still have plenty to talk about on the console itself.
Oh yeah.
So I think next kind of line for us. I mean, I feel like we got to talk about the Joy-Con. We do. So we finally got to see the magnets and work and stuff, and they look great. It's really cool. I love the demonstration of someone trying to pull them apart and it's not moving because I'll believe it when I see it on that one. It's just such a weird thing to think that like
I feel like if
these Mac.
they use some like actual good quality magnets,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the more we talk about the hardware, the more I'm convinced, yeah, they're definitely taking a loss on this thing.
Oh, no, no, no. I don't. There's been like barely any console ever releases to the point that they're able to make a profit at first. They're absolutely taking a loss. There's no way.
Yeah, it
I
really was
mean,
only last gen historically, because PS4, Xbox One, they immediately sold for profit, and then the Switch. But yeah, but this is just feature rich. Like we haven't seen this from a console in a hot minute.
oh, I totally agree. I mean, it's uh
We're gonna get
um
it, and it's gonna be like fridge magnets holding it in. Just a joke. Just a joke.
no. I'm super. I'm just really interested. Like this is something that I'm very interested in just seeing. I just want to get it in my hands and just mess with it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I will say though, on the Joy-Con, you mentioned it earlier. We talked about it a bit. They're much bigger, and that's just really good. It's just really good. I'm sorry, small hand people. Like, it is what it is. But I mean, gosh, like my hands are big. I
Just to
I
grow
need a
up,
big
guys.
controller.
Just get
Yeah, for
bigger.
real. But no, the larger sticks is nice. I will say very interesting that they were just like larger sticks. Moved on. No, of course they're not going to mention the drift because that would open up lawsuits. But I'm really interested if they have Hall effect because I'm pretty sure, and I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong in the comments. But I'm 90% sure that Hall effect joysticks are affected by magnets. But there are there are other joysticks that are zero drift. So I'm just really curious to see if they've actually improved the sticks or if they haven't. And I think they filed a patent, so I would assume that they have. But the fact that they didn't mention anything about it makes me like, oh, I don't know. Like either they want to sweep this under the rug or like they legitimately didn't do anything.
Uh, that's my other thing. I just can't wait to see what these feel like the button feel and stuff.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm really curious about the buttons too. I mean, like ever since that reveal trailer, the way that they animated them to go doot 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 and kind of click, I'm like, oh, I'm just curious, man. I really am, and I will say, I'm also really happy that the ZL and the ZR buttons are much bigger.
Yeah, because well, the Switch, one of the big things is the tabletop mode. Now we have like such a good stand for it. Thank
Dude,
God.
for real,
Thank
man.
God. So
Well, they took
anyone
those
who's doing
hinges.
that. Oh,
I was just gonna say they took those hinges from the OLED. So the OLED Switch has a stand that's kind of like it's like a fourth of the back,
yeah,
and
isn't it
it's
like
all
a
one thing.
flat piece? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But they have those hinges, the same ones in the OLED are on the Switch 2 now. And I really like the ones on the OLED. Like it really allows you to just put it however. But the new stand is way better. It's way lighter. It's not gonna take up, it's just way easier to pull it out, I think, than with the OLED.
And now that we have a good stand and good buttons on that, I feel like people be more inclined to just, hey, want to meet up in a cafe and just play Split Fiction or something.
True, true. Yeah, I mean, because that's my thing. It's like, man, I don't know how Nintendo got away with that crappy kickstand on the original Switch. That thing sucked,
What?
man.
No, the Switch 1 doesn't have a kickstand. That's the SD card slot protector.
No, literally. Well, that's so funny you say that because like that thing, it's like you literally accidentally flick it and it goes flying and like
I know.
I don't remember when it happened, but mine did that and I completely lost it. So like my original launch day Switch doesn't have
Oh.
it doesn't have the kickstand. Well, you can buy one from Nintendo. Well, that's the funny thing. So here's where it gets really funny. So I lost my launch day kickstand, right? And then like 3 years later, I bought one from Nintendo's store as like a replacement part. And I'm like, okay, let me just get one. Like I just, I lost that one too. I don't know where it is. Like they're just,
Oh
it's
gosh.
it's so dumb. I'm so glad that we're on back to just on the console kickstand that you can't remove. My gosh, man.
Just yeah, I've maybe opened my kickstand and used it a grand total of probably less than 20 times because I did not trust that kickstand.
No, it was not a joke. I mean, this one is a lot better. So I mean, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But
But
no, I
it
mean,
really feels like Nintendo's starting to deliver on the idea of what the Switch 1 was. This really
yes.
just feels like something you can bring anywhere and everywhere and do what you want and play how you want. And then the game chat just makes that even better.
No, for sure. I mean, the game chat stuff is really good. I will say, speaking on our earlier discussion of scummy Nintendo practices, I really think that their decision to say, "Hey guys, you're gonna have to pay for game chat," is really dumb. I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, I don't know. If you're paying for, like, if you're going to use your Switch, you're paying for Switch Online, it doesn't make a difference. But I just do think that's kind of dumb that, like, you don't have to
Sh-
do that on Sony or on PlayStation, or
it
same
just
thing,
doesn't
on
feel
PlayStation or
great being
Xbox.
nickel and dimed everywhere at
It
every
does. It really
corner.
does. It really does. I mean, I don't know, man. They're making this, and okay, we got to talk about it because this is where the really cool stuff happens. So mouse support was officially
Oh
confirmed,
yeah.
and this looks so cool. Like I'm already thinking about like man, like Splatoon is gonna be crazy with mouse support.
We're gonna start getting compilations of just people screaming in voice chat at Splatoon 2 over, you're using the mouse, aren't you?
No, that's so funny.
But
I
my
mean,
mind really fired off seeing it for Metroid Prime 4.
me too.
It's like
Me too.
I think Metroid Prime could legit be like Nintendo's Doom.
Oh, dude, that would be so sick. I mean, Prime 4 looks awesome, but yeah, no, I mean, I gotta say the whole mouse stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not that I was skeptical of it, but I was definitely just curious how it was gonna work in the grand scheme of things. But it looks so awesome. It
I'm kind
looks
of
so
wondering,
awesome.
is it gonna like? It's clearly gonna have to leave some type of cosmetic scratches on my Joy Cons, though, right? Or the straps.
I would think so. I mean, there's it depends on the surface you play on. I
Also,
think. I
wonder
mean,
how well they glide.
yeah, yeah. Well, Nintendo said apparently you can play it like on your leg or on your pants. You can use the mouse on that. Apparently.
Let me sit on the bus. Or gosh, imagine someone on an airplane. They pull down like the meal tray, just set their Switch on it, and just start playing a shooter with their mouse Joy Cons. Or well, I guess no Bluetooth on planes.
Oh, I think you can. I think you can still use it like that. I mean, I've seen people on planes pull and split the Joy Cons and stuff, but
It might just be
y-
for takeoff.
yeah, for takeoff. Um, but yeah, no, I mean the mouse stuff looks really cool, and I'm really interested to see kind of what games use it, because
And that one
I'm
like
not gonna
wheelchair
lie,
game they showed off looked really interesting.
it did, it was very interesting seeing how that you could like lift up the mouse and flick it and stuff. It's interesting, and I was gonna say like the game that I'm really interested in seeing if it happens is Halo, because there's the whole rumor
Oof.
that the MCC is gonna come to Switch, and I'm like if that comes with mouse support. Like, oh, dude, oh, dude, like that's gonna be insane. I mean, I'm buying that release regardless because I love Halo, but like, man, if they're gonna be able to get mouse support running on that thing, that's gonna be amazing.
Uh, I'm still upset because you said they should do Mario Paint if this mouse stuff's true. And I'm like, gosh, are we gonna get anything like that? I'd love to see some. Like, you could do so much artistic software with that. Bring back like the Art Academy stuff that used to be on 3DS and DS.
Yeah, yeah, I think we will. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it feels like something that could have been there. It could have been there at launch, but I think that Nintendo, it didn't have to be. I do think that there will be in the next like year or so some game that is specifically built for the mouse stuff outside of the whatever, the wheelchair game or whatever it's called.
But
But
gosh, just this.
I,
I wonder if they'll have like weird, like, hey, when you open your aiming mode in Tears of the Kingdom, use the mouse.
oh
Some
my
level of tier
gosh.
game like that. That'd
I,
be
I
funny.
That would be funny. I really do think that Splatoon is gonna have it,
Oh, me
and
too.
I think that yeah, I agree with you. Like they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, the sweats using the mouse. Oh my gosh,
They'll
this is
be
gonna be so
asking for
funny.
people to like let me make custom lobbies where I can only play against controller people.
No, exactly, exactly. Oh, it's gonna be ridiculous, man. Oh my gosh.
Trying to think of
Oh,
what some other fun. Oh gosh, can we get a web browser back and my Switch is just my
oh,
computer?
oh man. Yeah, that would be that. I'm surprised they haven't tried the web browser thing again, but I don't know. Like, PlayStation 4 had one, but PS5 doesn't. Like, it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah, the
Um,
the like 5 times I've seen it, it's signing into like hotel Wi-Fi.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, I'm really interested in what they do. I will say, kind of talking about the storage, 256 gigabytes is awesome. I was kind of wondering what they were gonna settle on. The original Switch had 32, so moving to 256 is really nice.
Yeah, it's basically the same as most phones now.
Yeah. Now, granted, games are going to be bigger,
Yep.
but I still think that like most Nintendo games will be at the very most 20 to 30 gigabytes. I don't think they'll be any bigger than that. So, I mean, considering like Xenoblade X is like 15 gigabytes, I think we'll be
We're
okay.
like never gonna have to worry about a game being too big if it's from Nintendo, because
No,
they're
I
just
agree.
so finely optimized.
I agree. And I mean, if you buy it on the cart, then that doesn't matter. You don't if it's a not a game key, right? If you buy a physical game that's on the cart, you don't have to worry about using your storage at all because that's all on the cart. You just play it off of that, which is nice. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, if you're buying Cyberpunk digitally, that's like I mean, if we're gonna assume that it's 64 gigs since they're using a 64 gigabyte cart. So if it's 64 gigabytes, I mean that's a fourth year storage. It's a lot. So
I'm
I don't
also
know.
just wondering. I don't know if I glazed over it, but did they mention like an SD card slot or anything to expand
They
the
did.
memory? Okay.
They did. So there is expansion. There is SD card support this time. However, it's only microSD Express. So that's
Okay.
something that was introduced a couple years ago.
Makes
But
sense for the
those,
speeds we're going for.
yeah, 100%. So those are cards are definitely way pricier than standard SD cards. I actually was meaning to buy one, and the ones on Amazon are already all sold out.
Jeez.
So yeah, yeah, that's fun. But yeah, that's gonna be the storage expansion route. But it's good. I mean, I'm glad that they're keeping that because that's vital. You have to have expansion one way or the other.
And what's good about
And
them not
yeah,
doing like a proprietary solution, as much like the PS5 having the M.2 slot, this lets the free market kind of take charge. So we'll definitely see the micro SD Express dropping in price as time goes on, especially with such a desirable piece of hardware focusing on it.
no, 100. I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, that's something that like we saw this with the original Switch too. Prices for SD cards. I mean, I remember when 1 terabyte was like over $100, $150, and now you can get like a terabyte for like 80
30,
bucks.
40
It's
bucks if you wait
yeah,
for a sale too.
true,
That's
true.
exactly what I did for my Switch 1.
I moved from 256 gigabytes. I bought that one for like $45. I remember, and then this. I mean, because this they used to be expensive, and then I got a 400 gigabyte one, and that was like the biggest one at the time. And that was like $80, $90, and then I didn't. That's the one I still have, but yeah, it's funny. Like now that same one's probably like $40.
But yeah, I'm so glad it's not some proprietary thing. This Nintendo card, that's gonna be $100 till the end of
Like
time.
Xbox did. No, I would have lost my mind. I'm surprised they didn't. Honestly, we shouldn't be giving them ideas.
Oh no, Switch 3. It's gonna be
Yeah,
the end of gaming.
we'll see, man. I have no idea. But before we continue to give Nintendo terrible ideas that they might implement, I want to transition and let's talk UI because, yeah, I wasn't surprised, sadly, but the UI is basically the same thing. So
Yeah, just that kind of basic thing. Like, gosh, I was just dying that they'd be like, yeah, we have themes now. But I guess at least this UI is a little sleeker looking. Like, that highlight effect is nice.
yeah, I
And
like
it's
the
also going to
rainbow.
be nice not having that 720p UI blown up on a 4K screen.
Dude, it's so funny you say that because, I'd never really, you don't think about that when it's, you know, what am I trying to say? Oh, with displays, right? Depending on if
Hmm.
you're further or closer from it, it looks, you can perceive it differently. And so, on my TV,
Yeah.
I never really had any issues with it. But, I made a Beyond the Conduit episode a couple weeks ago about the play order of the series. And I went back and, all my save files, they're so random, man. Like, I don't even know at this point. I just got some random save files, record some footage. And I'm like, man, I plugged in my 4K capture card. I'm like, dude, this looks terrible. Like, what? It was like, I don't remember the UI looking so low res, but here we are. I'm like, Metro looks like 280p.
I wonder if like we'll pop in like a Switch game card and it loads in like the art and you just see like, this little 720p square
Oh,
of
man.
art on the new 4K
It's
UI.
gotta be 1080p, man. It's gotta be 1080p. Like, man, I don't know. The UI is interesting because I agree with you. I like the rainbow highlight. It gives it a little nice flair. It feels, premium. But it's definitely, there's been a lot of talk about Nintendo. Are you iterative or are you innovative? And, I think that people that complain about the Switch 2 are dumb, to be honest, solely because I've seen a lot of people being like, "Wow, Nintendo's lost its spark, really making, yeah, a console that's a sequel, blah blah blah, like there's no innovation." And I'm like, this company has been doing sequel consoles forever, right? We went from the
I
NES
mean,
to the
the Super
SNES,
Nintendo,
right?
just straight
Wii to
up.
Wii U, and then this to this, and then Game Boy Advance. It's the same thing. DS to DSi, DSi to 3DS. Like it's the same thing. They do sequel consoles. They do them in pairs. So like I would expect, and maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe there is a Switch 3. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you innovate past what they're doing besides continuing to do this. But Nintendo is a company of innovation. They will figure it out. But
And
in terms of
there's also just hard truths
yeah,
like Murphy's Law or Moore's Law is basically dead. Our silicon progression is not what it used to be.
mm-mm.
And there's only so much we can do technologically and at a decent cost.
100%. Well, and it's like I've seen people be like, "Oh, Nintendo needs to innovate. We need some weird stuff." And I'm just like, I really don't think that the Switch is the perfect console. It really is to be able to play your games anywhere you are. Like that's no, you can't do that with PlayStation or Xbox. Like that's the beauty. Well, I guess you can because my fridge is an Xbox. I forget, but I mean,
Oh, how many Xboxes do I got laying around my room
dude,
right
I'm
now?
so sorry. Terrible. Like, I don't care what people say. That was such a terrible ad campaign, and they're still running with it.
Awful.
Well, here's my thing: Xbox, bring over Halo: The Master Chief Collection to Switch 2, and I'll shut up. Okay, I will. But I would say I expect a lot of Xbox games on Switch 2, as many as they can. Like, I like Indiana Jones wouldn't surprise me. I really wouldn't be surprised.
Me neither. If that's on Series S,
It's coming.
basically if anything can run on the Series S, I believe it'll be on the
I
Switch too.
agree. I agree. And I mean, I think seriously every game from PS4, Xbox One is easily runnable on the console. And then I would say a majority of games on next gen are runnable. Now granted, we get to like 3 years from now, things might get a little more interesting. But I mean, I don't know. I really do think that this console is super powerful. It's going to be great at what it does, and these games that are coming out are going to be just fine for it. Um, but yeah, on the UI, I'm just, I would have liked something more. It's hard. The reason I brought up the people talking about, innovative versus iterative is because it's really hard to convince people that this is a console with innovative features when you open it up and it's the same thing as your Switch UI wise, Like at least with, PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, there was an upgrade, even if the console basically does the same thing. And I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to see something different. Yeah, I mean, themes, I don't understand why we don't have themes. It's like, I hate this trend that we've seen in the industry of, companies, especially like Sony and Nintendo, just like stripping back all customization. And it's just like, that's the whole reason that you get attached to a console ecosystem is because you can customize it and make it yours. It's like, I want my Xenoblade background themes or whatever. I want my Mario, give me my my weird creepy Donkey Kong theme. I don't know. I mean, I just
Because really, they should either give us customization or have their own personality injected,
mhm. And
rather than
I guess
just
their personality
the
is white and black.
same.
Like I don't know.
Uh,
It's like two light or dark mode. Which one? Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely disappointing. It's definitely disappointing, and I mean, maybe we'll see themes sometime down the line, but I'm not holding my breath.
$30 themes. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Well, dude, honestly, like I know so many people that would pay for that.
Well, if you're a Nintendo fan, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
be able to pay for it
Yeah,
now.
if you're a Nintendo fan, you better start expecting to be charged for every minute that your console is online. Like, it's insane.
Update your resume,
Yeah, update
guys.
your resume. Professional Nintendo invoicer. Like, there you go. But yeah, so UI good, but we do have a couple things to talk about. So the first is the C button, which we hinted at earlier, but we were right on the money. It's for communication and it's called Game Chat.
And I'll give them this. I just expected some kind of bare bones communication thing, and I'd say this is shaping up to be probably the best or one of the better, like implementations of these type of features on a console.
I mean, they literally made Discord too.
The only complaint I have about the C button stuff is it is kind of jarring seeing like this 10 FPS video feed.
No, I agree. I was literally laughing so hard when they were showing that. Like, all these people just played at 2 FPS. It was so funny.
Like, I'm wondering the reasoning behind it. I could be like, oh, maybe there's some technical thing because we all know Nintendo's online has never been great. So I wonder if it's just limitations or they want to lessen bandwidth or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's just flat out something like, well, if everything was a full frame rate, then it would distract you from your gameplay window. So I don't know. It's definitely entertaining to see.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think like combined with the whole, the NVIDIA broadcast type features of like cutting out your background and stuff, I just thought it was really funny, like that people are like, yeah, no, hold on, like let me get on my Nintendo Switch and turn on my camera. It's like, but I will say, I'm gonna give Nintendo credit because I think like for Mario Party, that's genius. Like the whole Jamboree TV thing where like, your face is like on the slot wheel is really unique. It's really creative. So
Yeah, it's honestly, I just wonder what they're gonna do for other
I
games with it.
know.
Because the camera's clearly going to be useful no matter what for the communication features. But what other games could use it? It'd be cool to see it for like Tomodachi Life when that comes
Ooh,
out.
dude. I bet it's in Rhythm Heaven too. I bet. I
Oh,
bet it is. Yeah.
okay. Because there's just so much sick stuff they could do with it.
hmm It's pretty limitless to be honest. It just depends, like, how like any multiplayer game, I feel like it makes sense.
I wonder if they would revive like a. They had like this DSiWare game called Photo Dojo where you just took photos of like you or a friend doing different poses and then it created sprites and you actually just played a beat 'em up after that.
Hey man.
So I'd hope we could get some interesting stuff like that.
No, I mean, I think for me that would be super sick, right? Like what do you think they might do?
I'm trying to think of first I'm trying to pinpoint a franchise that I think it would
I
fit
know.
with.
That's the tricky part because it's like there's so many out there that like I mean, maybe Splatoon, maybe, but I just don't know how you would make that work. I think something like something that's on maybe this is a crazy one, but like honestly, I could maybe see Nintendo adding the whole camera thing to like, Mario Wonder or something. Like if you play online or 3D
Oh,
World. 3D World would be a good one too.
a weird thought I had is like you know how some games you can leave like online messages if you connect to the server?
Uh-huh.
What if you could just like outright leave like recordings?
Ooh, that would be really cool.
Like, imagine they're like, okay, the Switch 2 version of Elden Ring, we still have the text messages that you can leave, but people can now leave like video messages or
No,
something.
that'd be sick. That would be actually so cool. Man, it
I've already
makes me
seen
think of a
people
certain
joking about the camera.
really.
Like, I'm gonna get a kill streak and then like moon the camera.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm really curious how that's gonna work. That's gonna be interesting if there's no moderation for that. Like, but no, I was gonna
Mm,
say, I'm like, you're saying all this about leaving messages and stuff, making me think of a certain Strand type game.
hmm.
That would be really cool. I mean, I do think Death Stranding is gonna come to Switch too. 100%. And so I'm really that would be super super cool if they were
And
able
that
to
game
do
already
that.
has such a heavy emphasis on like these holographic
Yeah,
recordings.
right.
So letting players do it, that would be awesome. It also seems very Kojima.
Oh, he'd love it, 100%. You could scan yourself in.
I've
Now he
also
doesn't need to
like
scan your
character
feet.
creators. I think there's been like anyway, I think there's been a couple character creators for some games where you can like hook up a camera and like scan your face.
Yeah, yeah.
So, oh my gosh, like the you could do that with Mii's on like the
Ooh,
3DS.
I wonder if you can scan because we saw Mii's are in the system settings, so Mii's are coming back for Switch 2. They live on, so I don't know.
So, I'm just trying to think of what else the camera could be used for.
I honestly wonder, maybe this is okay. I was thinking about this earlier, like between the mouse controls, the camera, and the microphone, I think WarioWare is gonna have a field day. Like,
Oh,
I think WarioWare will have a field day, and I also think that the camera will be used for like, I bet Just Dance will actually go back to using the camera to track motion. Um,
it'd probably feel a lot better that
yeah,
way.
right. Not holding your little Joy-Con on your side like some bougie purse. But yeah, no, I'm interested too. I mean, I will say, beyond the game chat stuff, the other really cool feature that they announced was the game share, which is like you can share the games with, whoever, even if they don't have it, so you can play together. Which is really cool, and you can actually do it locally, and some of them are online. So I think really the cool thing about this that I think opens up a whole door. Think about this. You could basically play the local LAN, not even LAN, it's local wireless, right? You could play the local
Hmm.
wireless Street Fighter 6. So I'm honestly wondering now, like, is this potentially going to change the fighting game scene? Because
Oh
you
man.
think about it, right? Like, what, like, if Street Fighter 6 is 60 FPS on Switch, whatever, it's crossplay. Like, I wonder if at the tournaments they're going to use Nintendo Switch systems because you can actually play with multiple systems on the same like local network with just one copy of the game. It's pretty cool.
I guess at that point it just boiled down to if the Switch's input lag is superior to like the PlayStation or
Right.
PC versions, which I'd hope it is, or at least
Oh, it's
competitive.
got to be, man. It's got to be.
Because that way, yeah, you're right. Gosh, honestly, so much could be done with that for like tournament
I know,
stuff.
right?
Even
Smash.
outside of fighting games, maybe.
Mm-hmm. No, it's gonna be really cool. I mean, just the idea that you only need to have one copy of the game and you can share it with people on your network is just super cool. It really is. And you can do that with online too. So like they have you can hop in the game chat, and you can hop in game chat in Discord, right? So Discord too, and you can share like the game and play together. All you can play all together, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm still kind of disappointed on the actual like the virtual game card thing that they announced because it's all over local network. So like if you and I were in a family plan, like I couldn't give you a copy of a game.
Yeah, that's still really clunky.
It's Nintendo. I don't know what to say.
So now I'm
$80.
wondering, are we still rocking friend codes and stuff?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I bet this. I bet the. I mean, you're carrying over your Nintendo account, so I would assume everything's the same.
Eh, they should.
I just
I
wish.
feel they should have probably
I
updated some
agree.
of that a little
I
more.
agree. Like my biggest problem with it, like I'm not okay. I honestly don't even mind the friend code thing solely because that means you can put your name to whatever you want. You don't have to have a username. But what I do have
Hmm.
a problem with is it's like the profiles are so boring. Like I want to like mine on PlayStation is awesome. Like I have it decked out. It's like I want to be in Steam especially. It's like I want to be able to customize my
Oh yeah.
profile with like, whatever I want on it, and there's no achievements or I'm sorry, there are achievements on Switch 2
That
for
that Zelda notes
Zelda
thing.
notes. No, I want achievements on the system, Nintendo. Like how hard is it to understand? I don't understand how
No, you
ugh,
you got to download whatever we name for Splatoon, whatever. We'll add the applet into the parent
dude.
app, and then you get these medals for.
It's so bad, man. I'm like, Nintendo, why does everything have to be complicated? Like, let me just get the platinum or whatever, or the star, or whatever it's gonna be. Like, I don't want to play these. Oh, guys, let me check my mobile phone. Like, it's just, I don't know. And I might be alone on that because, like, I mean, to be fair, I do definitely like I use like PSN profiles and stuff to track my trophy progress worldwide and stuff. But like I 90% of the time if I'm looking at trophies, I'm on the PlayStation app, like searching through games that I own, or I'm 95% of the time on my system. So it's like I don't want to do this on my phone. I want it on the system, and I just don't think they understand that.
So that means even though I love Zelda, I'm probably mostly gonna ignore most of the features in the Zelda app.
Yeah, for real. I don't blame you, man. Like I think the whole like, you know, there's some cool stuff there, but I'm like I'm good, man. I don't want to. I'm not gonna keep my phone near me and like ring ring. Oh, Koroxy to the 30 degrees to the north. It's like, oh, thank you, Zelda Zelda notes. It's so funny, but I think really, I feel pretty good about what we've talked about today about Switch 2. And of course, that's going to do it. Just kidding, because we have all the games to talk about now. So I think it's probably time to dive into the games, don't you think?
For sure. Like we've knocked out the hardware and our issues, so
So, game
let's just be
time. Let's
happy.
be
Let's be
happy.
happy.
So, we've got to start with Mario Kart World, which I want to say I am a big fan of them dropping the numbers and just going back to titles. Way better.
Hmm.
Like, because, so for a while, Mario Kart had, different names. We had like Double Dash, stuff like that. And then Mario Kart Wii. And then, it got to Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And now, finally, we're back at a name. Or I forget Mario Kart Tour, but whatever, beyond the point.
That
Um,
was a phone game.
yeah,
It
it
doesn't
doesn't
count.
count. This game looks insane. This game looks
Like I
insane.
legit popped off.
Yeah.
And I'm not even the biggest Mario Kart fan in the world, but this looks amazing.
I mean, the concept of an open world Mario Kart sounds like ridiculous when you just first hear it, but as soon as you see it, you're like, holy crap, like this looks insane. I mean, I think the visuals look amazing. Everything is so expressive and animated. I mean, it looks night and day compared to 8 Deluxe.
For real. And like everything is so detailed. There's so much stuff on screen. And like I'm trying to really look at this trailer right now, and I can't. You can like see nary a polygon edge on these models.
I know.
Like you can see maybe a little bit, but I'd assume that's like maybe something reused or just updated. But from like when the camera actually pulls out when you're playing, you're not going to be able to notice that this is even a video game in some aspects. It just Nintendo art styles are so engrossing when they're done right. And this is definitely doing that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm definitely, I will say, like, I don't know what it was about the reveal trailer, but like a lot of the character designs, I was like, all right, like Mario looks like he's like 2 foot tall. Like I wasn't feeling it, but seeing it in motion, like full screen, did a lot for me. Like it looks really good. I think all the designs are great, and I mean, this game just looks so big. I mean, there's like 29 different locations or something, and basically this game is kind of abandoning the series concept of tracks. Like instead of a track being, okay, you go around the track 3 times, you know, and I'll be honest, like I'm honestly cool with this. I think it's good. It's good to innovate. And Mario Kart 8 has a couple of tracks that are kind of like super long and they're sectioned off into 3 parts. And so every single track in Mario Kart World is going to be like that, which is really cool. So you'll always be seeing new stuff. And really, the main gimmick is like, yeah, I mean, you're in the world. You can free roam in it, and I mean, you basically, the Grand Prix are like 4 locations connected, and you like drive between the locations, and that's a race, and it's really cool. And so you see the environment kind of change as you go, and there's day and night cycles, weather cycles, all kinds of stuff.
And that's not even mentioning, like, gosh. I mean, we casually mentioned it earlier, of course. But things like the outfits, that brings like
Hmm.
customizability. So you can just pick your favorite characters and pick your favorite style.
And they get their outfits from eating food. Like I was watching the Nintendo Treehouse this morning, and Mario like they had this like triple bacon burger that he just picked up and he eats it and he got a new outfit and he was like rocking it. I was like, what the heck, man? Like this makes no sense. I'm really looking forward to the direct in a couple of weeks to kind of learn more about it. But yeah, it looks insane. I mean, the craziest part of it all that we haven't even mentioned is that there's 84 characters.
Whoa.
84. And like they have the most ridiculous picks, like the dolphins from like Dolphin
The
Shores, the
cow.
cow from Moo Moo Meadows.
I've already seen fan art of people drawing the cow
Yes.
on the Akira bike.
Yes, me too. It's so funny. It's like they literally just were like, you know what? Like, yeah, we're not gonna have any. Like, we're just gonna do every Mario enemy possible. Diddy Kong suspiciously missing. Nintendo. I'm
Where's
I'm
Link?
I'm really hoping that you didn't kill Diddy for no reason. Not that I'm like, I really like Diddy Kong. You know, I hope Diddy Kong is okay, but we'll see. I mean, he's even missing in the DK game, which we'll get to later. Like the Cranky Kong was there, but we haven't seen Diddy. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him, but I think it's crazy. I mean, there's so many ridiculous characters. I mean, my favorite is like the Goomba, bro. Like, how is a Goomba driving? A Goomba doesn't even have arms. Like, it's just driving with its feet.
He has telekinetic
Yeah,
powers.
right. The dolphin too. Like a dolphin does just has fins. Like what? It makes no sense. But I honestly think that's like the stuff that's making this entry really fun for me. Is like it makes no sense that these characters can drive, but they're doing so. And I'm really glad Pauline's in it too.
Oh yeah, and God, I wonder if I wonder what the DLC could possibly be for something like this. Because I'm just automatically assuming that they're gonna have some type of updates down the line.
Oh, they gotta. I mean, you would think that they're going to. It's kind of one of those things. Like they, I mean, dude, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold so many millions of copies. And then they did that Booster Course DLC years later when no one thought they would, and it was awesome. I mean, that was the best DLC they could have done. I mean, it brought so many amazing tracks. The new ones were really fun too. I mean, dude, I'll be honest. I'm just sitting here thinking about this, right? How freaking cool is it that we have that entire game in all 96 tracks, and we have this brand new Mario Kart? Like that is so cool.
Just content richness. That's what has me also conflicted about that $80 price point. Because the thing is, I think you could justify that with having a lot of content in it. Like that's what said about like FF7 Rebirth. And Mario Kart is like they have that many characters, this many tracks. It has a sense of scale. So I can kind of almost see how Nintendo would do this type of price point. So if we're gonna go like the DLC route, is this game gonna end up costing possibly up to 120 if you get all the DLC after that? And what could that stuff involve? I personally, from DLC, of course, we'd expect new tracks, but also really want to see more characters. Because one of the cool things about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was having, like, oh, here's Link, here's Isabelle, here's Inklings. So I'm hoping we get some of that with World.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I think that DLC characters as a whole gotta be in there. And I mean, I don't know. There's so many options too. It's like you think about like I'm trying to think. There's just so many characters. Like, okay, I want Funky Kong in. Bring back Funky Kong. I'm thinking who else? Like, I agree. I mean, it's definitely interesting because like, you know, when we were talking about this, and this is a long time ago before we started the podcast and all and everything else, but we talked about like, the next Mario Kart should be like Smash Kart, right? And like
Hmm.
bring all the characters from all the Nintendo franchises together across all kinds of different worlds that are all Nintendo, right? That'd be cool. But I don't know. I mean, Kirby's not in this Mario Kart, huh? I'd like to see Kirby.
No. And what would be cool about them adding other characters that with these outfit systems, we could probably get
Mm,
some really cool redesigns for
true.
characters.
I didn't even think about that.
Imagine seeing Link in normal clothes.
Oh my gosh. Imagine, I just think
Like
it's funny
just
they gave
give him
Mario,
jeans.
yeah, in jeans. I think it's funny they gave Mario his Isle Delfino outfit. Like there's some references there, which is really cool. But then of course all the shots of Rosalina have her in her one outfit. I saw someone on Twitter be like, "Is Rosalina like broke? Like why does she not have any outfits?"
Look, she doesn't have coins. She has star bits.
Sorry.
That they won't do the money transfer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I will say something I really wasn't. I didn't really think about this as like a possibility, but I'm really glad it happened. They completely removed cart customization. I'm very happy about that, to be honest with you.
Cause really,
It was so tedious.
people were just funneling. especially when just trying to be in and out of some races. And you could have all these weird mismatched looking carts, which some people might think are fun, but I'd rather just pick a cart that I know how to do it and not have to worry about all the extra stuff.
No, I totally agree.
Because ultimately, people are just going to build a cart around one stat anyway, maybe two.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, I don't know, and you know what? Like, I definitely might be in the minority on this, so I don't want to speak for everyone, but like, at a certain point, like the gimmick of building your carts is just so tiring. It's like, dude, I just want to go. Like every time I play Mario Kart, I just press A, so I'm done. Like, I don't care.
And it's not like there was a super huge amount of crazy options. It was just kind of okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I mean, we'll have to see, but I mean, I know according to everything that we've seen, it's gonna be about 24 carts, which is solid, I think.
Yeah, and really, I'm just going to be going for bikes anyway.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, for real. So I mean, I think that overall, like Mario Kart World is super exciting. I definitely agree with you. Um, I mean, look, the whole the whole you know $80 thing is ridiculous, but it does look amazing. It really does. I mean, the fact that you can free roam is so cool.
Oh gosh, I just rewatched the trailer, just seeing how all these paths connect and everything. Ugh. I wonder I wonder if you'll be able to do like custom Grand Prix and like make your own like path.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, that would be really cool. Well, they said that you can drive anywhere. So like, I almost wonder if like if you're in a Grand Prix, like if you just want to take like, I think this game is all going to be about shortcuts. There's going to be some crazy stuff that pops up, and I'm really interested that like to see kind of what happens there. Like, are you going to be able to just say like, you know what, like shoot, there's a bridge right here. Like, let me jump over it and just ride across this completely different area and like shortcut to the end of the track. Like that would be so cool.
Gosh, this is also just making me think. So like Crash Team Racing had like this big like hub that you could drive around and explore. I wonder if there'll be like a free drive mode because we have all these just gorgeous locations with the wonderful design of just Mario creatures. So it'd be just fun to be able to
You're in
take in
luck.
that world. Oh,
There is.
I
Yeah,
guess
there's a free roam mode.
I guess I was
You
just
can go.
high off of the excitement of all these announcements.
It
But with it
happens. It
being
happens.
that big, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's really cool. There's a free roam mode, so you can drive around. You can also invite people, your friends, and drive around like wherever. And like they kind of showed it off at Treehouse today, but like if you're driving around, like you might run into another random racer. Not like like you might run into King Boo just driving around. Like
I wonder if they would tie any like extra stuff to this. Like maybe there's some little collectibles or you can unlock certain things by doing this.
yeah, I don't know.
Because
Huh.
otherwise, it's basically just, I guess, just a empty sandbox playground you can mess around in. Be good for kids.
Yeah. No, I know. That's kind of my thing with it. It's like I think it's gonna be really cool to like drive around in for a little bit and like, I'm sure there's so many details like you can only see and appreciate by driving around and not racing. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't know what the whole appeal of it is gonna be if it's just, hey, you could drive around and that's it. Like like if it were me, and I don't think they did this. Now, granted, we have to wait until the direct, but I don't think they did this. But I would love, they won't do this. I would love for like a little campaign mode with the free roam where like there's different quests you have to complete and stuff. Like that would be so cool. But I bet they didn't do it
That'd
because
be
Nintendo
that'd be so
doesn't
ideal.
like that. Ugh, they don't like that, man. Something like Forza Horizon.
Or even like that would just be like an evolution on, like I said, Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, it would be. God, yeah, it's really exciting though. I mean, I'm so curious to see Rainbow Road. I'm so curious.
Ooh, I wonder what they'll have for you to get up to
Yeah,
Rainbow Road.
right, right. Yeah, it's gonna be sick, man. But no, they definitely killed it. this feels like a next generation Mario Kart, and that's what needed to happen following Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So
Because
I'm I'm definitely satisfied.
we've been stuck with Mario Kart 8 since 20.
2014.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and even that wasn't. Besides the graphics, I probably wouldn't have called that something that felt like a next gen jump.
No, it was Mario Kart 7 with like a couple. They had like the
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 anti
gravity
gravity, yeah.
wheels. Yeah, and like it was like oh, it was cool. And like don't get me wrong, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best Mario Kart game we've had until this one. This one looks like it's blow. This looks like it's gonna blow everything out of the water. It really does.
And gosh, I wonder if almost like Smash, you know how they'd have limited time event stuff. I figured that'd be something they could throw into the free roam mode. Just like maybe this character pops up, or we
And
have
go
like a
find them.
holiday thing.
Yeah, yeah. That's sick. No, it's like crazy though, man. Like that world looks as big as Breath of the Wild in some instance.
God.
But I'm really excited about that. And honestly, good on Nintendo because again, we needed something innovative and they've delivered it with software.
Seriously, just that new Mario Kart looks so pretty, man. And also the speedboat thing. I wonder how that Sonic Cross Worlds game is gonna compete.
Well, you saw what they tweeted yesterday? I was laughing so hard. They were like, "Oh man, the better kart racer," or something like that, just poking fun at Mario Kart. I was just like, "Bruh, look, Sonic, I don't even want to hear about. You know what? Sega has been doing a lot better. Like they've really hit their stride, and they are one of the best publishers out there right now. But Sonic is so unbelievably mid. I'm so sorry. Like I don't care.
It just feels like they never give him the budget and time he needs to truly shine. Especially when we have Astrobot coming out, and now we're getting this new 3D Mario. And if Mario Kart World is that big of a jump, what's what's this big A team of Mario people at Nintendo going to give us?
Yeah, well, yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I've been telling people the last couple months. I'm like, I just want to see the Odyssey killer. Like that's what I want to see.
Well,
I
if
want to see
anyone can
something that
do it, it's
kills Mario
Nintendo.
Odyssey.
They're the
Oh, it
only
is
one. They're the only
100%.
ones that can do it.
Yeah, dude, because that's my thing, man. I like look, Astrobot was a great game. In my opinion, I don't think it deserved Game of the Year. I don't. Like I wasn't mad about it, but like I think the Astrobot ratings for reviews, a lot of people put way too much emphasis on nostalgia.
That's how it
And nostalgia
goes.
is great, but it's like, man, dude, like, Mario Odyssey as a platformer didn't need nostalgia to be good. It just needed to be good. Astrobot, like, yeah, it was fun, but I feel like the thing that everyone talks about is like, oh, the bots. You could find Leon, you can find Claire, you could find Solid Snake, you can find Big Boss. Like, it's like, no, like, that's to me, that's not what makes a game amazing. Like, that's a fun thing to have, but like, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's the
Beyond
whipped
the
cream
point.
and cherry.
Right. Beyond the point, though, this is a Nintendo podcast, not a PlayStation podcast. So, I think Mario Kart. We've been there, we've done that. Really looking forward to it. Moving on, kind of the next big thing they showed off was this concept of Nintendo Switch 2 edition games. And so there's going to be, we've talked a lot about this kind of in the podcast so far, but I really want to dive in and talk about, what we got, what we saw. So Nintendo Switch 2 edition games are basically going to be like the quote unquote next gen released enhancements of games. And so, the first one they showed off really was Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus Jamboree TV. That is a mouthful. So, yeah.
But gosh, we've already talked a bit about Jamboree. In my opinion, that's how you do a next gen upgrade with some extra stuff, and it shows off the new consoles features while still giving everyone the game that they already liked on Switch.
Absolutely. And it's probably $80 too. It's probably $80. But no, it's a good way to do it. I think the Jamboree TV stuff, it looks pretty, it's all tied to the camera. Super Mario Party Jamboree was a absolutely phenomenal game. I had a great time with it. I actually picked it up over the holiday season and I was really impressed by it. I thought that they really made some good strides to push forward Mario Party as a whole. So I'm definitely interested to seeing what Jamboree TV brings to the table. But this is a release that makes a lot of sense for Nintendo. Um, ND Cube, they released the Mario Party Jamboree last year in 2024. And, that's great, but also that means that we wouldn't be getting a Mario Party game for probably the first 2 years of Switch, too, right? So, kind of putting this as a re release is really smart on Nintendo's part. It gives you a release for July. And it also is like, hey guys, we've got a new a Mario Party game. If you haven't played it yet, it's got brand new content, this and that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's great. And honestly, I mean, yeah, I already own the game, so I'm interested to see kind of what they're gonna do, enhance it, I guess, on Switch 2. But I mean, it's cool. I mean, Jamboree TV looks fun.
Yeah, and like I didn't get to pick up Mario Party Jamboree, but I've heard nothing but like glowing reviews of it pretty much. So I think this is where I'll probably hop on cuz this is just absolutely perfect for like parties or if you
Yeah.
visit family even.
Oh, for sure. And you can play online too, which is awesome. That's the best part. You can actually play online with this one. And I the mini games they showed off, like you can do like a bunch. They have a bunch of mini games that looks like they use the mouse, which is like really cool. So
And yeah, that's something that's always been fun with like Mario parties since like the Wii was like some of the extra stuff you can do. But since we have regular controllers with motion and mouse and the camera stuff, that gives you a nice variety. It makes it to where you can focus on the mini games you want to play pretty much.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the camera stuff is so silly, but I mean, it's what it
But
is.
it's all in the fun of it, which I'm
Yeah,
glad
oh for
for.
sure. For sure. It's really nicely implemented, to be honest with you. Like it looks like it fits the style of the game, which is great. And I the funniest part to me was whenever they had the people like rise from warp pipes, and then they had to like hit the blocks. It was so funny.
And having, like you were saying earlier, the player bubbles with like their face in them. Like, gosh. I feel like there's going to be so much trash talk and other stuff with the camera stuff.
Oh, for sure.
If you
It's gonna
thought
be
Mario
super
Party
fun.
could end friendships beforehand,
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, because like I don't know, man. I feel like it sounds like that they really, they acted like, at least in the press release, that they really didn't show that much. And I'm like, I really think the mouse stuff is gonna be crazy because like they had that one where like you're in the roller coaster with also the Mario Wonder Flower, which was like what? And then you're sitting there and you actually are able to aim with the mouse. Like it's the thing I would compare this to is you can compare it to Duck Hunt, sure, but I would compare it actually to, do you know at Disney World they have that ride with it's like Zurg's, it's the Toy Story one where
oh
you have
yeah,
the, yeah, it's that's basically what they made with the mouse. It's actually really cool. I mean, I'm really really interested to see kind of what else been able to put together, I guess, with the mouse stuff.
for sure. I wonder what other type of mini games you could really do with it. I guess my main worry with the mouse would be, are some of these mini games just going to feel similar using the mouse controls? Just
Yeah.
dragging to do a specific thing?
Yeah, because I mean, the ones we saw, like they had one where you were dragging to aim. They had one where you were like pulling back to pull back a handlebar. So it'll be interesting. I will say though, like on our topic of like complaining about prices, like regardless of whatever the price is, like I do think that being a paid upgrade makes sense. I mean, that's a ton of new content. I'm not against doing that.
Yeah,
That's a
and
lot better than our
content you can
next
only
game.
do on Switch too.
Right, right. So that makes sense. I mean, if they're going to add like let's say 25, 30 mini games, and they're going to have this whole Jamboree TV thing, like honestly, I'm fine paying for that. Now, $20, fine? No, but like a $10 upgrade, yeah. But I don't think we get a choice. But on Switch 2 stuff, we got to keep it going. Switch 2 edition games. The next ones they shown off were The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And just I literally like I think my jaw fell to the floor like 10 times.
Dude, that like when they had the side by side for like the load times, I wasn't even focusing on like the new load times. Just seeing the split between like 30 on one side and 60 on the other. Well, sub 30 on one side and 60 on the
Uh,
other.
Korok
I'm
Forest,
just like,
secondary.
whoa. It
Yeah,
felt
it's
sinful to look at. Like I'm never like I wasn't supposed to see this.
oh man. No, I feel it. I mean, dude, it definitely is kind of jarring. Like, I said it earlier, like seeing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom run the way they're running on Switch 2 is like legitimately insane. It feels wrong. Like Tears of the Kingdom especially, like it looks so crisp and it was confirmed that it is running at 4K 60 at the press event.
Gosh.
Like that's amazing, dude. And I know like people be like, "Oh, that's not that impressive." That is super impressive, dude. I mean, I'll be honest, like, I definitely have some time that I want to spend in Tears of the Kingdom. That, I kind of I've been wanting to go back to that game,
Same.
and I'm probably just gonna start a new save file and just play on Switch 2 because
And
my
and
gosh.
now that we have two manual saves, oh yeah. I get to keep my old save file and just experience this stuff in this crispness, silky smoothness. Like,
Dude, for real.
no complaints on that.
No, none at all. And I mean, it's funny because I remember when we recorded that when we kind of talked about last time about oh man, like I want to see save files for certain games. Like I want to see a save file for Xenoblade 2. We had a couple people comment like, save files are pointless for people that aren't reviewing games and this and that. I'm like, it has nothing to do. It's like it has nothing to do with me. What oh, I need this or that. It's like, man, like take Tears of the Kingdom. I don't really want to wipe my save. That was my save I made from day one. It's like I really don't want to wipe that, and like this lets me play again without having to do that.
And
That's
these
really
are
nice.
huge games. Like, I played Tears of the Kingdom for only 70 hours. Because
Only, oh my god,
only, but there's so much stuff in that game. Like, even that 70 hours felt just full. And that is just the feeling of losing it. It would just be so devastating. Like, I've started so many games over or made a new save, but losing your old save data in favor of that would just feel terrible. So I'm glad they got that, just made it a non issue.
no, that's a wonderful feature. It really is, and I mean, I honestly like I have to say I'm just looking forward to like, dude, 4K aside, right? Because the 4K is gonna be incredible, but getting to play that game on handheld at 1080p 60 is gonna be an experience, dude.
It's
Like, man.
just mind blowing because uh, I just remember playing portably on like the original Switch sometimes because I had it on Wii U originally and got it on Switch later. And you could feel a bit of that heat building up in the back of the Switch also. So I wonder if we'll feel that on the Switch too, especially with the higher res, higher frame rate.
That would be really interesting, dude. Ah, gosh, I just need my hand. Like, dude, if there's any of these games that they shown, because I look, and we'll get to some in a minute that looked incredible, but Tears of the Kingdom looks insane. Like, I'm sorry, dude, it looks so crisp, and I'm telling you, I've been rewatching that trailer so much the last day. It's like, man, like I am so excited to see it for myself and really just experience that because it looks amazing.
And I wonder, I think the original Switch release used like FSR2 to help with some of the frame rate and resolution stuff. But if all this
On
is
Tears of the
native,
Kingdom.
yeah, I believe it used FSR 2.0 on the original release. Because I think I remember Digital Foundry bringing it up. Because I think like it and
I don't
Xenoblade
think.
3 used it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I no, I agree. I mean, that's the kind of the thing that we're talking about earlier with like the console. The fact that apparently nothing shown was running using DLSS is like amazing. That this is all native, and so I think that speaks loudly to what Nintendo's going to be able to accomplish. Because again, the thing that people forget about consoles the worst looking games come out at the beginning.
Yep.
Like, think about PlayStation 4, right? Think about the games we got on PS4, like from the start all the way to FF7 Remake, right? Like, those God of War, FF7 Remake, Death Stranding, like, those are the games that we got at the end of the generation. And we're getting games that look like that now at the beginning.
And honestly, kind of even better looking.
Yeah, no,
So,
in a lot of instances, yeah.
because like you
Running
really,
better too.
oh, so much better. And I was also thinking, like, yeah, our the worst looking games of a console gen are always at the start. You can you can hop on YouTube right now and look up like the Unreal Engine 4 showcase for like PS4 at the start. Do that and then hop on like like an FF7 remake trailer at the
Yeah.
end of the gen, and it's night and day.
Oh, for sure.
So I wonder what we're gonna be thinking and feeling here in like 5 years on how like the new games are looking.
No, dude, I just want to see what Xenoblade 4 looks like. Xenoblade 4 with Switch 2 power is going to be the best looking game. It's going to blow PS5 out of the water, I'm telling you.
For real. God.
I'm
So
so
so is
excited.
Monolith helping with Mario Kart World?
Ooh, I actually thought about this. I'm not saying that they did, and I'm because to be honest, I'm gonna assume that the Kyoto team is helping with Splatoon 4, but I can't tell you that like I would be flabbergasted if it comes out that they assisted with Mario Kart World.
Oof. I wonder how many other games Nintendo has like, you know, in their hand that they're gonna just show and just blow us away like this again. Because I'm wondering what other games could get this treatment. Because we've just been seeing them really ramp stuff up. Like Zelda had a more constrained formula, and then we got Breath of the Wild. And now they're doing this with Mario Kart, of all things. Are we gonna see
Yeah,
like Splatoon with like more hub, like a bigger hub, more hubs, or
that's what I was
just
gonna say.
outright some open-ended thing? Like maybe you actually get to journey to like the stages rather than select them.
I think Splatoon is due for a massive overhaul. Two was a good build off of one, and three fixed some things that were bad with two, and three's a great game. But they've all kind of followed the same formula. Like I feel like the shakeup is due, and I think that if there's any game that gets a huge overhaul, it's going to be Splatoon. But I could also see Animal Crossing.
Hmm. I'm still kind of like we said last time. I'm still almost betting that they might just do some more weird upgrade stuff with Animal Crossing and maybe add something to it because they did that re-release of like the of like New Leaf on 3DS where they added in like the amiibo camp stuff. So I wonder if we'll just get something similar to that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because okay, here's my thing with the Animal Crossing thing. Like essentially, right? Animal Crossing to me feels like the type of game that Nintendo knows it did so well. It's the next one is not going to do as well. It just won't. I'm sorry, Nintendo. Um, but um, um, the game director of and the manager of EPD 5, she is definitely cooking up the next Animal Crossing. Like I have refused to believe that she's not. I don't know what it's gonna look like. But here's my argument for why I think we're getting a new one is they did that DLC Happy Home thing or whatever it was called.
Oh yeah.
Um, and there was nothing, and then there was nothing after that, and they barely updated the game. There was no content, so I really think that they've been working on a new game for quite some time. And I mean, honestly, think that we'll probably, I think that we'll probably, um, think we'll probably get some really good updates on that here in the next year or so. I don't know that we'll get the Animal Crossing first look because it's not coming out this year. There's no way.
No way.
But I think it comes out next year. I think we'll get a first look this year.
I'm just wondering what they would do to like shake up that formula. Would it be is it going to be something a bit newer like New Horizon was compared to like New Leaf? Or are we going to get something a little more iterative? Because if we're going with like this broader design, Nintendo's really been nailing the past few years. I wonder if it could be something like, okay, make it a strand type Animal Crossing, where you actually just have a city and could walk over to like your buddy's city or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that they've got to. I definitely think that there needs to be some big change. I think a city would be really cool. Like they could do some really cool stuff with that. And as for Splatoon, what I think that we might see there in terms of how is this going to how is this going to be like Mario Kart World? You get this giant upgrade. I don't know, but you know what I think? Just a guess, just a hunch.
Hmm. Sadly, I'm not a mind reader, and I don't like being wrong.
Oh, come on. I All right. Well, I have a feeling that Splatoon 4 is going to increase the player count from 4v4 to potentially 6v6.
It's
Just a
it's
hunch.
gonna be the Overwatch killer.
Yeah, I just and here's the thing on that. This isn't me saying that. This is just me thinking out loud, but like I feel like with Splatoon, where do you go from 3, right? Do you just make the same game because you're gonna follow the theme? I forget which one won the last Splatfest, but you're gonna follow that theme. But it's like, I like Salmon Run. Splatoon 3 is so fun. It is such a good game. And, I really hope that, to be honest with you, I hope Nintendo adds 120 FPS support and mouse
Oh,
support
that'd be
and calls it a
insane.
day. Yeah, it'd be awesome. But I think that Splatoon 4 is going to be, the game. I have a hard time thinking about like what they're going to do to really innovate that franchise because I'm not saying it needs it, but it should get some innovation. Like I want to see a really big departure, not necessarily like okay, what is this game? But like, I want to see some departure in the sense of like wow, this is like a hugely different from the last 3 entries, right? Like it retains the formula, but it's really, there's a lot of new stuff. So I don't know. I think that maybe increasing the player count could be the answer to that. I
We're
don't
gonna
know.
get a 100 Inkling Battle Royale mode.
The Fortnite killer. Yeah.
Well, they'd have to jump up that customization way more.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like I don't know what EPD 5 is probably going to do with that. I know they're working on it. They're definitely working on it. And I wouldn't be surprised if it launches this year. But yeah, it's just kind of I don't know. I would expect to personally. I'm expecting to see it in June.
I mean, that'd be the time. All right, the console's like right here, or literally a few days away. Here's some more stuff you can look
Right.
forward to the back half of the year.
Because like if we look at Nintendo's lineup for right now, right? We have well, and let's revisit this at the end. I'd like to revisit this at the end because I don't want to spoil the other games that we have to talk about here.
Yeah, yeah, we got a little
So
distracted there.
yeah, it's all right. It's all right. But getting back on track. So Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games, Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Starcross World, $80. Bomb drop.
Yep.
But in reality, so Kirby and the Forgotten Land is getting like what seems like a really big sizable DLC, which is pretty cool. Like I'm honestly like that's a phenomenal game. So I'm honestly really excited to check that out.
And that price point's a lot easier to swallow if they give you some bang for the buck.
I mean, but dude, it's not easy to swallow considering that that game should not be $60 three years later. Uh,
It's
but I agree.
the way of the
Out of
world.
everything we've seen, that game looks like it has the most to offer in terms of content.
I'd already heard that the base game was pretty chunky itself.
Yeah, no, it was. It's a lot of fun. I mean, that's the best Kirby game on Switch for sure. And so I'm definitely excited at the very least that we're gonna get an upgrade to resolution and stuff like that, and that'll be really cool. But yeah, I mean the new story bits is actually awesome. I do wonder what that means for the next Kirby game. There've been a lot of rumors going around that Kirby Planet Robobot was going to get a remaster this year. That's definitely not happening this year. For not just for this Kirby game, but for something else that we'll talk about in a minute. So I'm very interested on like what the status of the next Kirby game is and what it's going to be, because if this is launching in August, I believe. This Kirby, you know, Nintendo Switch 2 edition game. Um, So I'm really interested to see kind of what they have because I really was looking forward to Robobot Remastered and I still hope that happens. But I'm curious on like what the status of like the next 3D Kirby game is, you know?
Because now they really do have a killer formula for it. So it's going to
100%.
be interesting to see what they do. I'm almost willing to bet that's something we see in like the back half of this console's lifespan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I will say I'm definitely I mean, let's be real. We are absolutely due a new 2D Kirby game, considering that the last one we got, I believe, was Star Allies. That was the only new one we got on Switch, right?
Yeah, and that was like right at the start of the Switch, pretty
2018
much.
March. Yeah,
Yep.
within the first year. So it's like, I mean, I'm really interested to see kind of what the future of Kirby looks like in 2D and 3D. But at the very least, we know that it's a Kirby year. So I'm looking forward to this one. But again, I think if you don't own the game right now, that's that's unfortunate because that I mean the whole price point thing. But beyond the point, the other in the final kind of Nintendo, or I guess there's a couple more. The other big one that they showed off was Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and this looks unbelievable.
Gosh, like it has that quality mode of 4K 60. That's
They said it wasn't
absolutely insane.
possible. They said it wasn't possible. Nintendo do what Nintendo don't. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that was. I really did. You happen to look at a side to side of the Switch versus the Switch 2 Prime 4?
Oh, actually, I haven't yet.
So I looked at. I there was some guy put a video together on YouTube, and you can see both of the games side by side. I'm like, wow. And I thought that Prime 4 on Switch looked amazing. And I'm like, oh my God. Like apparently not. But no, it looks awesome. I mean, it looks great on both consoles, seriously. But the fact that Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Prime 4 is running 4K 60 frames per second or performance mode of 1080p 120 FPS. That is amazing, man. That is so awesome. And the best part, you can actually use the Joy-Cons in mouse mode and actually aim the cannon with the mouse, which is so cool.
And that's a gosh, where's the 2 and 3 remasters? Like I figured this would have been a
Dude,
good time to just be like you're getting those because we had that Wii trilogy and it had like the Wii motion aiming. And now we
yup.
have the mouse stuff.
I am very curious what's going to happen with that because, the rumor forever was that Prime 1 got this big remaster and we got that, right? Prime remastered and it was a huge upgrade. And then the other rumor was, okay, Prime 2 and 3 got kind of a minor upgrade, but they're upgraded enough and they're going to be a pack together and we're going to get Prime 2 and 3 on Switch and that'll be that. And we've yet to get that. And I think the interesting thing about this presentation, Prime 4 didn't get a release date. And I might be crazy for saying this. I think Nintendo is making a huge mistake not launching Prime 4 at launch.
Because
But
that'd be a console seller, especially with these kind of killer features. This is how
yeah,
they would like prove themselves right out of the gate.
no, I agree. And I mean, here's my thing. It's like, Metroid, every series that Nintendo has just tremendously grown with Nintendo Switch. But with Metroid in particular, like, I feel like if you really wanted to get as many people's eyes on this game as possible, and I get it because, like, yes, it could be overshadowed by Mario Kart, but I feel like launching it with Mario Kart would have been here's your single player experience and here's your multiplayer experience, right? That would have been a huge launch, and that gives you your Switch 1 game in June too. So I don't know. I mean, I think it'll still turn out perfectly fine. Prime 4 is going to be awesome. I bet it comes out in the fall because, we didn't get a release date. I would assume probably October or around there. But I really do wonder, like, if because we're definitely getting a June Direct. We don't know anything past up to August. We're definitely getting a June Direct. So I would hope in June that Nintendo comes out and is like, hey, Prime 2 and 3, here they are, they're coming. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, to be honest with you.
Ugh, more wait and see, my favorite.
right? But beyond Prime 4, the other game they showed off was Pokemon Legends ZA Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, which I could not care less about. But I know there's so many people excited
We're
for
gonna
it.
have the first 3D Pokemon game that runs good.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was running at 60 FPS. Pretty impressive. And yeah, I mean, I sure hope that it is steady and stable, but we'll see.
Oh,
Not gonna,
I guess if
not
anyone
gonna
could
be
figure out how
overwhelming.
to make it unstable, it'd be Game Freak.
Gosh, dude, gosh. I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, man, I don't know.
Look,
I
I
don't
love
know.
Pokemon and played a good amount of Pokemon Violet, and that's like their biggest issue. And their games
Yeah.
have always had some kind of glitch factor.
Mhm. It's something, man. It's just something. I'm really curious to see what happens with that,
At,
just to be honest with you.
at minimum, it's at least nice to see Pokemon going in different directions
Yeah,
after
yeah, for sure.
such a hot minute.
Yeah, too long. So that really kind of concluded the Nintendo Switch 2 edition games. It sounds like that they're probably going to do more in the future. I've said it so many times. Xenoblade Trilogy. I'm sorry. Yeah, all four Xenoblade main games now. Bring them over. Bring them over. There's the 60 FPS mode in X. We know it exists. Bring them all over. Give me my 4K Xenoblade.
Please.
I don't even need 4K. I just want it to run it. Like honestly, 60 FPS 1080p. Great.
And they deserve it so much.
I
Trying to
know.
trying to think if there's anything else that I particularly our special
Oh,
guest Storms.
I could tell you the one that I really want that I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I really want it is Age of Calamity
Oh yeah.
because that game runs like hot trash on Nintendo Switch. It dips down to like 17 FPS. Like we need
Lower
a
in some cases.
yeah. It's so like it's so bad.
So, well, we have all these Switch 2 editions prime and ready to come out when the Switch 2 does. And don't worry guys, we have all these upgrade packs.
True. Oh man, you know what I just thought of?
Hmm.
How cool would it be if they added like mouse support to Mario Maker 2?
Oh, they should. They just outright should. That and Game Maker Garage.
The Game Maker Garage is getting an upgrade, so we do know that.
All right, so maybe
So
something like Mario Maker, because the
yeah,
thing about that is, I feel like it's just cumbersome to do that not in handheld mode without the touchscreen.
100%. Yeah, I think Mario Maker would be cool. I also think because I'm thinking about games that need upgraded. I think Astral Chain at 60 FPS would be sick,
Please.
and I also think that Luigi's Mansion like 2 and 3 could be upgraded. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's so much opportunity, dude. Like you really could go back through the entire library and upgrade everything.
One can hope. One can hope.
Yeah. And like yeah, but anyways, I mean I was gonna say like the only other thing is like I wonder if third party teams are gonna go and upgrade because if they do, there's one game in particular I would love to see an upgrade for, and that's Witcher 3 because it's a
Oh,
miracle that that game runs on Switch, but I think that they could make it look like like any console or PC port of the game if they upgrade it.
and if CD Projekt Red is pushing out this 7-week-old build and it's running and looking great,
Yeah,
surely they'd want to do the same thing for Witcher. I wonder if
I,
they'd
I
just
would
wait for
I
like
think so.
the next season of the show to air or something to cross promote.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really curious to see kind of what how that goes out, but
But
yeah,
people who buy a Switch 2 deserve a better version of Witcher 3 than the plain Switch version.
no, 100%. I mean, I think that they I think that they got to I think that they need to upgrade it. I really do. I mean, it's like and that game runs really well. It's a miracle that they're able to do that on Switch. But like, yeah, I agree. I think it's time. Like, let's get some good stuff in, man.
Because, I mean, we can already at this point tell Nintendo's at least gonna upgrade, like, the big games of theirs. Which,
Right.
awesome. I really would just leave most of my main worries with third party.
Agreed. Well, I will say, I I am concerned that Nintendo. I am interested to see like what we get beyond what they've announced. Because, but I will say, seeing them do like, hey, we're gonna upgrade ARMS for Switch 2 makes me confident that we'll probably get everything. I just hope again, like my biggest thing is like, bruh, get the Xenoblade games up to date, man. Get like Mithra does not need to be Mithra and Pyre and all these characters do not need to be at 368p, man. Like that's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
And the Xenoblade games punch so high above their weight that they're even beautiful at these low reses and frame rates.
Yeah,
Let them
dude.
be free.
No, seriously, dude. I mean, dude, I was stunned with how good X looks. X looks amazing. Like X is one of the best looking games on the system, easily. So I'm like, man, if they're able to get that stuff up to date, like what are all these games are going to be some of the best looking games on the Nintendo Switch 2 even, if they can get them up to date.
Well, if they're treating their like first party this well right out of the gate, surely the second party stuff is up next,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be.
Unless they want to
Well,
disappoint us further.
Monolith's first party.
Oh yeah, they're like pretty much completely owned by Nintendo now.
They because so Nintendo owned 96% of the shares, and then in December, uh, they Takahashi and the rest of the co-founders, Nintendo bought the 4%, and it's funny because I actually got a chance to talk with Doug Bowser a little bit at the Game Awards. And we were talking about Monolith Soft, and I told him I was like, I just hope like here in the United States, like thank you so much for you know the North America's support of helping to push the series, like blah blah blah, and he was like, you see, we got that 4%. I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, like this guy is a businessman through and through. He's talking about his 4% stake equity that he got. And I said, I was like, yes, sir, I did. I said, I think that was pretty symbolic of, the relationship between Monolith and Nintendo. He's like, oh, it was. Don't worry. I said, well, I'm looking forward to what they're cooking up. And he's like, yo, just you wait. But it was
Oh
so funny.
boy.
I know, man. No, but I always tell people that because that happened in December, and I was just like, Doug Bowser being like, you see, we got that 4%, and he held it before. I was like, oh my God. Of course. But no, anyways, so we gotta move on. But so that kind of got the first chunk of the direct out of the way, and then the third parties came in.
Yep.
And we could talk all day on these third parties, but to kind of talk about the big ones, Elden Ring's coming to Switch 2. No brainer. No brainer, but that is so crazy. Like, isn't that like that's so crazy to think about that that's playable on a portable console like that.
This game's for real about to hit that 30 and 40 million sales marks
Yeah.
off of
Yeah.
this. Because you already know a bunch of people are going to rebuy it for the Switch 2. And then there's
Yep.
that entire untapped market of like 150 million people.
It's crazy, dude. I think so many people don't realize like what all these game releases are gonna do for these companies. But yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. I think beyond Elden Ring, we got like Hades 2, great, that's awesome. But the next one that really got me excited was Street Fighter 6. That's
Yes.
awesome, dude.
And it's getting
Like
amiibo.
which is crazy. We haven't had third party amiibo in so long. I can't believe amiibo is living on in Switch 2 land.
Gosh, I wonder. It just feels like they just kind of gave up a little on some of the functionality, though. I don't.
They definitely did.
So, gosh, what was some of the last third-party amiibo we even got? Sora, maybe some Monster Hunter stuff in Japan.
I think it was Monster Hunter probably, which it makes sense. It's Capcom, but it's like, yeah, I mean, the Sora one was even Smash. Like, you can't even really count that as third party. Like, that's a Nintendo thing technically.
Yeah, I
But
guess you're right. But
yeah,
having
it's
this
interesting.
premier fighting game on a
Yes,
portable, looking and running great. Whew.
it's awesome. Well, dude, that's the thing I think that like look, I love fighting games, but Nintendo Switch like really had none. They had like we didn't even get Street Fighter 5. We got nothing. We didn't get Tekken 7. We got nothing.
Trying to
So the
think.
fact that
I think even the only Arxis ones we got, besides a couple old ports, was what?
Guilty Gear,
Fighters and Guilty Gear.
yeah, and we got Guilty Gear was like late. Like we got it
Late,
like just
late.
kind of last year. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited, and I think that we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like there's a ton of potential for the fighting game community on Switch to just be huge, man, huge.
For real. I wonder. There's a part of me that's curious. Now and then when they put these fighting games onto a Nintendo console, we get a guest character. Like think of like Soul Calibur 2. Like
Right.
let's throw Mario in Street Fighter.
Oh my god.
More realistically, I guess they would do like those crossover skins for your avatar or whatever.
Yeah, probably. No, that would be crazy, but Nintendo's so weird about that, man. It's like it has to be exclusive to their platform and like I don't know, it's so weird. That would be so sick though, like seeing a crossover. Um but yeah, no, I mean Street Fighter 6 coming over, huge deal day one, huge deal. That's gonna sell probably a million copies at least. I mean, that's gonna be huge on the system. And after that, we got a trailer for Damon, the sequel to Damon X Machina,
Oh,
and that looked
so
awesome.
hype,
That
so
looks so
hype.
good, dude. So I actually haven't played the. Have you played the first one?
I've played a chunk of it because originally I played like the Switch demo and just figured, yeah, I'm gonna wait for see if there's another release. And then
Uh
Epic
huh.
Game Store gave it out for free a couple years ago. So I still need to
Yeah.
finish it, but it's great. And now, especially being off the waves of Xenoblade X, I'm just itching for more mecha. So having this be more action than RPG like Xenoblade, I'm like,
Yeah.
gosh, this is gonna
No, it's
be
a
a
full action
time.
game. Yeah. It looks sick, dude. I mean, yeah, I admittedly have not played the first one, so I'm really curious if the first one gets upgraded for Switch 2 because it is on
That'd
Switch.
be a nice bonus. Like, hey, Demon X Machina, Switch 2 upgrade. Get ready for that sequel.
Yeah, dude. No, it would be sick. I mean, it looks really good. I'm definitely interested in it, and I mean, yeah, I love mecha, I love mechs, so I'm looking forward to that. And the next game, oh man, this hurts me. This hurts me. So Split Fiction coming to Nintendo Switch 2. If you've not played Split Fiction, go play it. Phenomenal game. Right now, it's easily the game of the year. Right now, it is, and it's a wonderful game. I Joseph Fares is a genius. Seriously, some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in a game. Unfortunately, though, I don't know if it was just the trailer, but it looked rough on Switch 2.
Yeah, it was definitely a little chonky in a couple parts.
The anti-aliasing was really bad, like really bad. And
Some
yeah,
of that might be
I'm
just from like the, dual screen type thing since you're
hmm
having to have two viewports.
right.
So it'll probably clean up a lot nicer if it's people playing on two separate consoles.
Oh, for sure. I think that I'm definitely gonna hold my judgment until the game is out on Switch because again, the thing we mentioned, none of the games that were shown off were running with DLSS. I think that's one that clearly would benefit from DLSS. So
Definitely.
we'll have to see what that game looks like at launch. But I mean, I will say the character models look pretty dang good. I mean, it's definitely it's definitely noticeable. It's not as good as PS5, but I mean, it looked pretty dang good, and it's crazy that that's running on
And
Switch.
really, I'd say that Ferris just his entire team just needs to focus on Switch 2 as their primary like target because the whole
100%.
console's built around, especially with all the new communication stuff.
It's all
Imagine
about co-op.
imagine being able to play Split Fiction now and have your friend's game window up online and like if you're trying to figure something out together, you can actually just like look at their screen, which is something you would normally miss out on if you're not doing couch co-op. So the Switch 2 really delivers in that way for me.
100%, dude. Yeah, I agree. I think that that makes a lot of sense. And I would bet that their next game launches day one on Switch 2 easily for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, it's really exciting. And then they you know, we had we had another thing to talk about, being the, other big ports. Just kind of gonna list a few off here. So, Hogwarts Legacy is getting a Switch 2 version. Madden is actually coming to Switch, which is a big deal. Tony Hawk 3 and 4, Hitman,
Borderlands.
Borderlands, and all that looked really good. But then we get into the really exciting announcements, I think. So Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, 4K 60 on Nintendo Switch 2.
Yep. And will this be like the first time you can do that on a console? Because
I
on
think so, yeah.
PS5, wouldn't it just be like the 1080 60 PS4 version?
I think you're right. But yeah, it's really interesting to see kind of, Sega bring this Yakuza game and be like, yeah, guess what? Boom, mic drop. This is the director's cut. There's brand new content, a new mode, new story cutscenes, and it's 4K 60 on
So like,
Switch. I'm like, man,
are they gonna upgrade Kiwami?
dude, I would think so. I mean, I would think so. Like, I'm really interested to see, what I would assume that they're going to bring the rest of the series to Switch too.
That's
They're
what I'm
going. I mean,
thinking.
they're going to, and I'm going to buy it all. The fact that dude, those games. I almost said physically, which yes, I'm buying them physically, but those games portably, that's awesome, man. Like, gosh, I love Like a Dragon so much. So I'm like, man, thinking about playing all those games on the go is gonna be so sick, dude.
And like, one of my favorite things about portable gaming is, you always want to see the big story stuff on like your big home TV. But whenever you're just like wandering around or doing some side stuff, there's nothing like, hey, I only have like 30 minutes between like work or class or what have you, and just let me go do like a side story in Yakuza real quick.
Yes, bro. Yes, and they're so great. Like, dude, and it's so funny seeing RGG is masterful at like bringing back these iconic characters. Like Mark the Kiwami 2 is so funny. And all these characters and like the grandma with the tiger sweatshirt, like all this stuff. It's just so funny. Like it's the most random series ever at times, but the stories are legitimately so good.
And man, now that Yakuza's been leaning into the RPG space with 7 and 8, those are going to be killer on the Switch 2. The Switch 2 just needs to be the JRPG machine, and I'm going to be broke.
100%, dude. Like, this is the problem. I told a friend of mine, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm sitting here like, dude, all these games that are getting shown off, I knew that I was going to be buying a lot of third party ports because I want to be able to play them portably. But I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like, yeah, because I'm going to be buying the whole series. I'm going to be buying, all these games. It's like, man, it's going to add up quick.
Uh, Hopefully, some of these third party games aren't priced as high.
Yeah, hopefully they're not $80. Gosh, I mean that's so funny. They what's it called? It's so funny. I've been seeing so many people speak just on the price one more time. Like so Nintendo of Europe or whoever put on their website that like it's like I think it's euros. It's euros or pounds, one of the two. But it's like it's 89.99 for a physical there. And so some people have been running with, oh, it's $89.99, which is not
No.
true. But it's not true. Nintendo's charging $80. But it's just so funny because I'm like, I get it because like yeah, like that is worse and like like always of course we're not gonna report on anything unless it's true, but it is funny seeing people be like, no, it's like dude, like does that really make it much better? No, I mean it doesn't. But beyond the point, I don't think any of these ports are gonna be priced that bad. Like I would expect, I don't know about this release of Kiwami or sorry of Yakuza 0, but this is a $20 game on every other platform. I'm pretty sure Kiwami released for $20 as well on Switch. I would expect this one to release for 20, maybe $30, the most $30.
Yeah, that'd be smart.
But Yeah, that one looks really good. And then I have one here that I know you were super excited about.
Oh, you know I am.
Bravely Default is returning. The
Gah,
GOAT Revo. The GOAT.
for real. Like, I popped off in my car earlier when driving just because autoplay played a Bravely Default song, and I'm like, yes, I'm finally getting to replay it.
No, dude, for real. That's a really great. I'm really happy to see that they're bringing that over, just because like, it's one of those things like it just wasn't playable on modern systems. So now bringing that over to Switch is gonna be great, and then you'll have Bravely Default 2 as well. Like it's just that's really great. I'm excited to for everyone to experience that game.
Because it really is just such a great tribute to like the classic Super Nintendo and PS1 RPGs that Square put out. It's really is just a Final Fantasy game in everything but name. They even
Yeah,
use the same terminology and lore. So
yeah.
if you've somehow missed out on Bravely Default and are like a classic JRPG fiend, this is going to be a must buy. Because I'm definitely gonna try my best to either get it day one or as soon as possible after. Because I've just been dying to re-experience the job system, that battle system, and just the story and characters are really great. And they're making the UI like fresh and condensed from the two screens. And there was even like show of like some extra stuff they'll be adding, like there's a mini game and stuff in it. So, man, I wonder if there's gonna be like any other like surprises with this port.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know. Like new story content could be cool. I know it's not happening, but I will say I really hope that this port does well so Bravely 3 can happen.
And I honestly hope they port Bravely Second. Like it almost had like that Xenoblade X effect when it came out, where all the people who loved the first game kind of dogged on it a bit. But I think Bravely Second was probably kind of better than the original in many ways. So
Yeah.
I hope we get a HD remaster of that like a year or two from now, and then maybe after that, Bravely Default 3.
I
But
could
Team
see it,
Asano
dude.
said they had some stuff cooking, so
This is not everything for sure. I wouldn't be
definitely
surprised if we
not.
see second this year too.
I mean, they got me. They'll be
Oh,
getting my $60 to $90.
come on. I think Bravely's only 40.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Gosh, never mind. They'll only get $60 from me in total.
Yeah. Well, so Bravely was exciting, and then the direct kind of like they're like, "Oh, take a look at this." And we're getting a brand new Hyrule Warriors game. And this one is
Called
actually
it.
really
We called
cool.
that too.
We did. We did. This one's actually really cool because this is actually they've confirmed that this is a canonical story and it takes place during Tears of the Kingdom. So it's actually really cool because instead of it being something that's kind of like, oh, like I'm not gonna Age of Calamity.
If you
Age of
know, you
Calamity.
know.
Yeah, exactly. Age of Calamity is what it was, but this is confirmed on the website to be like a canonical thing, which is really cool. And I love the Warriors games. I'm definitely excited for this. This looks awesome.
And it's nice seeing the full enemy counts. Because with Age of Calamity, it was already barely running. And in most Warriors games, when you do a map, by the end, you're usually around that 4 or 5,000 mark, maybe 3,000 for a smaller map. But you'd maybe top out at 2 or 3 in Age of Calamity because the enemy counts were just so much lower. But you can just look at this trailer and it's crisp, it runs smooth, and there's hundreds and hundreds of enemies on screen. So, yes, I feel like they took all the negative feedback from Age of Calamity, they really took it to heart, and I feel like this game's going to really be special.
I agree. Like I said earlier, like my hope is just that they're like, all right, like, let's get Age of Calamity running okay. Like that's my hope. Because
I,
I'm super excited for this, but I hope that they go back and make that one actually run well.
Seriously. Although, since this is part of that canon story with Zelda as more of the focal character than Link, I'm wondering if they'll have maybe a non-canon chapter, if that makes sense, to where it's like, oh, we just have like all these Zelda characters here, and you just do, a normal crossover game type epilogue or side story, while the rest of the game is the actual canon plot.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just not much of a way to fit a lot of the other stuff from Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom into it. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
feel without making the same compromises Calamity did.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think this one, it's funny because like I saw people online complaining that like they teased us because they showed Zelda, but it's actually a Warriors game. I'm like, it opened with Koei Tecmo. Like it was obviously a Warriors game. And honestly, I don't get the hate. The Warriors games are awesome. They're fun.
Like I'm still waiting to pick up Dynasty Warriors Origins even because that game looks sick and I
Oh,
loved that demo.
I bet that's coming to Switch.
Me
I would be
too.
willing to bet that's coming to Switch too.
Uh, but Warriors games are fun. You get the combos, you get a lot of visual splendor, and there's honestly tactics involved in how you go around and complete objectives and help other people out. So I'm really looking forward to this. I hope there's some really interesting move sets with the new characters.
Me too. They need them. They definitely need them. And beyond kind of everything else, I think the other big one that we've got after Age of Calamity was they were like, yeah, here you go. GameCube's joining expansion pack online, which is awesome. I mean, that
Truly.
feels like that's been something that we've been waiting years for.
This is how they're gonna cop out, not giving us Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess
Dude,
HD.
oh my God. Don't even get me started on this. I honestly, like, dude, when I saw this, when they showed GameCube, I was like, oh my God. Like, I was not happy because it's like, I've been wanting Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD forever because it's like, dude, those games are HD. They've been remastered for consoles, modern consoles, and it's like we're not going to get them now because here's my problem with that. I can live with just having the GameCube games because the GameCube games were good, right? They're good. But my problem lies in the fact that we're never going to be able to buy a physical copy of them. We're never going to be able to own them because they're on this stupid online service, you know?
Yeah, and man, like there's a lot. Like I'm also really excited of Pokemon Coliseum and Gale of Darkness being on there, because those are some of the GameCube games that if you try to go buy in the
Yes.
our horrible retro market,
Yes.
that you're gonna be shelling out more money than you would for a new Switch 2 game. So part of me hopes this could maybe stabilize that market, but in truth, it's probably just gonna make it worse.
I don't know. I mean, dude, I feel like that the selections they made were honestly inspired by all the crazy demand for those specific games on eBay. Because like basically got like they got Fire Emblem, all these games that are super expensive. I don't know. We'll see. I will say I'm super happy to see Luigi's Mansion come over
Mm-hmm.
finally. I was really hoping that they were gonna bring the 3DS remake, and remaster it. So again, I just get disappointed in that because it's like, it's great that we have these games finally playable, but at the same time, I mean, you know it as well as I do. It's like, those remastered versions are better. They are. And as nice as it is to have the original games, it's like, I want to own it. I want to put it on my shelf.
And one of the simplest things is like that was like the GameCube and PS2 era of gaming was when they were still figuring out things with like camera control and button layouts. So
Yeah,
there
dude.
is a bit of awkward stiffness to certain games depending on how they were made. And like with
Yeah.
that Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster, they completely overhauled all of that. And that would have been nice for Luigi's Mansion 1. Like that's a cult classic that a ton of people adore. So I'm with you. I really hope they don't use this as an excuse to not remaster or remake certain games, cuz that'd just kind of be a shame.
I agree. I just, man, I can't say it enough. Maybe I'm crazy, but like take Luigi's Mansion for example, okay? Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion. Oh, I can't even talk. When Luigi's Mansion 4, that game is coming to Switch early. That is coming to Switch 2 early. I have a feeling like within the next 18 months, it's probably out. So that's that. Because remember, Luigi's Mansion 3 was in 2019, and Next Level's game after that was Mario Strikers, which was not good, by the way.
Oh, for real.
So that one, I think Luigi's Mansion 4, I mean, Luigi's Mansion 3 outsold all of your favorite games. It almost sold 15 million copies worldwide. Like, 4 is a huge priority for Nintendo. I would be willing to bet it's coming out soon. So, I definitely think there's a world that we might see a Luigi's Mansion 1 like actual remake, which would be really cool. But yeah, I don't know, man. I like to put it on my shelf, and it definitely disappoints me when it's like, hey, guess what? You can play these games, but they're not going to be, full 16 by 9, and they're also, you can't put them on your shelf. So I don't know. But beyond the point, it's really nice to see GameCube coming over finally, and it's also nice that we're getting the GameCube online controller. Kind of cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I'm sure whenever we get the inevitable Smash on Switch 2, that people are
Oh,
gonna be going nuts for it.
you think? Yeah, dude. So, after GameCube stuff, we just have a couple more things really for this direct. Really, really cool announcement. Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 coming out on launch day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, to think Toby Fox went from some guy who was just making ROM hacks to being featured in a Nintendo Direct and dropping the next part of his new game.
It's
What a
really cool.
legend.
It's a great story. And I mean, dude, the music in that trailer was awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. I realized I haven't actually played chapter 2. I played chapter 1 when it came out in 2018, I think. And I never played anything past that.
I haven't even finished Undertale.
Yeah, oh, well, you need to do that. That's crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, I haven't really done anything like that, and you know, I'm looking forward to 3 and 4. It's really cool that that's a launch title. Very, 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 very cool stuff. And after that, third party games coming out. We talked about Borderlands, Civilization 7, NBA 2K, Cyberpunk, which looks awesome. Can't believe that that's running.
Reminds me of like a Digital Foundry was doing like guesswork like sometime last year on what the Switch 2 like power wise would be. And they're like, okay, according to the leaks, it'd be roughly equivalent to this gaming laptop. And it was showing like Cyberpunk at like 720, 30. And they're like, Switch 2 might be able to get this. But I think people severely underestimate how much you can do with a closed system like a console. You can optimize
100%.
things so much better. You're not having to worry about a million different part combinations. And really, this just looks far and away so much better than even their guesswork from months ago looked. So
Yes.
that makes me really hopeful for what can be accomplished with this hardware.
No, I totally agree. And I think it was really like, the fact that apparently that this is running 1080p docked is really, really awesome. And I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. It's apparently running at 40 FPS. That's just really cool. And I mean, dude, the game looks way better. It looks miles better than it does on PlayStation 4.
Oh gosh, yes.
And so it honestly looks like a little subpar PS5 version, but like that looks so playable. And I mean, dude, I'm gonna wait for reviews for sure. But I actually haven't played Cyberpunk.
Me
I
neither.
bought it. I bought it on PC when everything happened. Before it happened, I had it pre-ordered, and then everything happened. And I've continued to try to run it on my PC, and it just doesn't run. It's so terribly optimized. It's terrible. So
No, it has path tracing.
yeah, right. So I'm like, heck no, dude. So I'm not messing with that stuff. I'm like, dude, if they can get it running on Switch 2 and it looks good, I'm sold, dude.
I mean, might as well.
I mean, having a big 100-hour RPG like that available at launch is crazy. It's
And there
super cool.
really is something magical of looking, especially playing in portable mode. If this stuff's gonna be this crisp and run that good, and it's in your hands, it just releases good brain chemicals for me.
No, for sure, dude. And I have to say, the announcement that followed Cyberpunk was I've been waiting for this for like years. I feel like, but Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade from director Naoki Hamaguchi is coming to Nintendo Switch 2. So so exciting.
So I'm about to have like my fourth copy of this game.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this will be copy number 6 for me because I own it. I own it digitally on PS4. I own a digital PS5 copy for no reason. I own it physically on PS4, two physical copies on PS5, and a PC. So yeah, that's about like sixth copy for me. It's like God, I'm so excited though, man. But I know Square's gonna do that stupid like game key thing, man. Like, ugh. Like you just can't win. But I'm really looking forward to this. This is, I mean, the screenshots that they showed and the gameplay that they showed, it looks as good as the PS5 version. It looks better than the PS4 version for sure.
Yeah, and I originally played it on PS4 Pro, and if it can even, because at worst I was expecting the Switch 2 to achieve that type of look, but this looks better. And if we're gonna have DLSS implementation, I guarantee we'll be able to get some performance mode or something at some point.
Oh, I totally agree. Cause according to Digital Foundry, the game was running at 1080p 30 in the presentation, but that's locked. I mean, that's locked. And I mean, I agree with you. I think that once DLSS comes into play, we might hopefully, because they didn't give a release date for Integrate, did they? I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. So I would think that, hopefully by the time it releases that, DLSS is a thing and, maybe we can get a, you know, 4K, if it's 4K 30 docked, that's fine. But like, I'd like handheld to be 60 if possible. I think that's possible for sure.
I wonder if they'll give some little upgrades to like Crisis Core.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. That's a great port on Switch though, from everything I know.
Yeah, from what I understand, it locks that 30 and it looks fairly crisp for what you can expect from like a Switch port.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, I will say, I definitely hope they do upgrade it just because I would, the visuals can be better, the frame rate can be better. But yeah, I mean, dude, this is the thing. We, I made that episode of Under the Plate. People were like, no, 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 no. Yes, 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 yes. This is going to change the remake trilogy permanently because I'm telling you, there are millions and millions and millions of people who have had zero exposure to FF7 Remake. This game's going to sell like hotcakes on Switch 2. I'm willing to bet.
And I guarantee Rebirth, we'll probably see that next year.
100%. It's coming. Well, you saw what Hamaguchi said. He said,
The
look.
trilogy,
Well,
like
no, no, no.
future
He said, he's,
developments.
yeah, he said, yeah, look forward to, for future developments surrounding the remake project and Nintendo Switch 2. Like Rebirth is coming, and Part 3 is coming too. So get ready to get your minds blown. It's gonna look way better than Steam Deck. I'm willing to put the money on it now. And I'm super excited. I mean, those are some of my favorite games of the last 10 years. So it's like I'm just so excited to be able to play that on the go wherever. And yeah, dude, it's so crazy to think about that, right? Like I've been trying to wrap my mind around the fact that like these games are just going to be running portably like this. Like it's so crazy.
It's legit some like dream stuff because when it first came out, like gosh, I even remember being younger and wishing that FF15 showed up on the Wii U.
Oh
So when
man.
this hit PS4, I was like, man, I hope this is on Switch. But now it could be like it's just gonna be on Switch too, and probably the rest of the trilogy more than likely.
Oh, for sure. I really do hope that FF15 makes it over at some point. I think that's free money. I
That
really
would
do.
that'd be really interesting. Just be like, here's Royal Edition on Switch too.
And I'm not gonna lie, next year marks a certain anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
We're gonna get We're gonna get Versus 15 on
Versus
Switch
15,
2.
the remake. Yep, it's coming. Don't worry. Gosh, don't worry, guys. It's coming. But yeah, no, it's that's gonna be interesting. I'm definitely curious to see what Square does with FF on
And
Switch
from here
2.
on, I'd say we should get some native ports of the Kingdom Hearts collection.
Oh, dude, please, please. The cloud ports are so bad, and like KH3 is gonna, all these games are gonna be able to run at 60. And I'll say this bold prediction. This maybe I'll get laughed at in the future. I believe that KH4 is a day one game on Switch too.
I
I
feel
do.
like Square has like no other choice if they want to make money.
Yeah.
Because it's
No,
clear
literally.
whatever they're doing right now with their current releases, no matter, it doesn't matter how high of a quality we find their most recent releases. Because FF7 Rebirth was both of our game of the year, and honestly, probably both of our games of all time. Like, that's just
Yeah.
how
I
good it
it
is.
was it was it's genuinely Rebirth is genuinely like one of the greatest video games made in the last like 30 years. So it's very funny to me. I mean, it sucks. It's sad that it's and it's not a failure. That's a complete BS lie. That's not something that's accurate. Kitase's been on record saying that it's sold to our expectations, but
They
I
can get their head from just above water to, yeah, we're up on Mount Everest.
right because it's like, dude, this game should have sold 10 million copies easily. And it didn't because it was locked to one platform. And, they did a good job turning around the PC release within 11 months. But I think that, putting this on Switch 2 is going to be a game changer because you're going to introduce that whole new audience to this stuff and they're going to get invested in the story just like we did. They're going to get Rebirth. I mean, it's going to do a lot of good things for the remake project. So I'm hoping that Rebirth is early next year so people don't have to wait too long.
This is
Um,
just another thought I was just given, but I feel like what just all these like third party companies need to do is just, okay, we have all these Switch 2 ports coming out. Every single one of these needs a demo.
I agree. Honestly, I agree because it's free, and like with remake, you already have a demo. I would.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. I bet they do a demo for remake, and they should because that gives people a chance to kind of dive in, and you've got to capture this new audience somehow. If I were Square, I'd be working with Nintendo to market the crap out of it, and just dive in like one of the biggest RPGs of the last of the last one ever. Like what you get to. You get to experience this on the go with Switch. It runs at this rate. Like that's what they need to do.
Because one of the first things I did when I got my Switch, because I'd been a Wii U owner for a few years, is I always get curiosity when I get a new console over the old one. So that's the perfect time to just hop on like the eShop and just download a bunch of demos and see how things are looking now. I feel like that's just free advertising and money essentially.
Oh,
Because
it is.
if you get a bunch of people hooked off of a demo, because there will be people who will download the FF7 remake demo if it's a thing on Switch 2. They'll download it and be like, "Whoa, this is not like anything I got to play on the Switch 1." And when people form that attachment, they're pretty much they'll be all in. They'll be ready for Rebirth when it gets ported and definitely ready for part 3.
100%, dude. I just really hope that they're able to pull this off and get it into the people's eyes because that's the biggest thing. It's like we see games all the time. You can drop them whenever, but you need the word of mouth. Like if this is truly just a flawless port, it'll sell itself. It really will because you're gonna get like we'll be doing a review. Everyone's gonna be doing a review. That'll get viewership on like, oh wow, okay, cool. But I think the real thing is like you really need to market this as like this is a massive JRPG. Literally one of the biggest high budget art JRPGs out there right now, and it's playable on a portable console. Like that's what we need to drill.
And gosh, with the HDR on the Switch 2, now
Oh
that that's a
man.
thing. And and I'll be honest here, there's like not really besides like Xenoblade, I can't think of really any Switch games I played that are near like even a quarter as cinematic as FF7 Remake and Rebirth.
Mm-mm.
Like
Maybe
that's
Xenoblade, yeah.
unreal looking.
Yeah. It's no, it's those games are literally like so cinematic. It's almost like movies at times. And it's like, yeah, that's a that's a type of game that there's just not a lot of on Switch. I mean, again, like you said, besides Xenoblade, like that's really I really think that's gonna help drive more sales for just RPGs in general on the platform. And Switch is already a very RPG hungry user base.
Oh yeah, I've had some of my non-RPG hungry friends be like, "Well, I know you like today's direct," for like years,
No, yeah, it's
but I'm gonna stay winning.
my gosh, yeah, that's super exciting, and I mean, I hate to say it, like you'd think that would be the biggest, and there's definitely some other games, but we're not gonna go through everything, but I would think that that's like the biggest third party game, but it wasn't because Nintendo has somehow they're smart. They have secured a exclusive first party Souls like game from software.
Yep.
Insane. And I literally thought so whenever the trailer started, right? I was like, wait, is this Castlevania? For a second, I thought it was Castlevania, right? I was like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm like, no way, we got Konami with the new Castlevania. Oh my gosh. And then the hand shown once the lady started talking, I was like, oh no, this is something from software, I think. I don't know. And they showed the logo and then they got to the thing and like legitimately I was like, oh wait, is this Bloodborne 2? Is this actually Bloodborne 2?
Jeez, Sony really dropped the ball, and they deserve it. They deserve this L.
Oh, they do. Well, it's funny, man. I'm like, my brother, who he doesn't own a Switch. He doesn't, he'll play games if he, I don't usually bring my Switch home with me, but like if I do, he'll always, like, let's play Mario Kart, whatever, let's play Smash. But he was like, whoa, whoa, wait, it's only on Switch. I might have to get one. I know like three people I was talking to that were talking about this game specifically. It's crazy. But Miyazaki's directing it. It is a just bombshell announcement.
And
Bombshell.
after Elden Ring, this game, like, what
Yeah.
if they also secure like a Bloodborne 1 port somehow? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know,
don't know if they
man.
will just because of, the Sony involvement in it. But I mean, hey, Bandai Namco is porting all those Sony games, and Bandai
True.
Namco's helped with publish a lot of From's games.
That's very true.
So who
Yeah,
knows?
it's really crazy, dude. I'm like it's pretty surreal to see Nintendo reach out like that, and that's like another M-rated IP. I mean, that's gonna be M, and that's it's very similar, I think, to Bayonetta for them. Like they're gonna own the IP, but From Software is gonna be the one developing it.
That'll probably be the case, much like some of Platinum's other stuff with Nintendo.
Yeah,
But that's that's such a bombshell announcement. Something people have been wanting since like what, 2015,
yeah, dude.
2016? Like,
Because
yeah.
it's very Bloodborne reminiscent, and it's very interesting because it's actually a PvPvE game. So
Oh,
it's a multiplayer game, which is really interesting. So I'm curious what that entails, but it seems like that you can join up with people around the world and like go and fight these bosses together, kind of like Elden Ring Night Rain, but like Bloodborne.
but gosh. So that means after Elden Ring sells 10 million plus copies on Switch, this is about to sell like 30 million copies like Elden Ring did.
Yup. No, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But gosh, dude, yeah, I don't know, man. Nintendo is wild for doing that. I never in a million years would have thought they'd go to From Software and lock up an exclusive.
But they did it.
They did. But yeah, I mean that was like the big bombshell third party announcement. And that kind of and I guess that's actually first party technically. But that kind of ended off that whole segment. And then we got what was I want to say it's my favorite announcement, but it wasn't because the next one was. But Kirby Air Riders, directed by Masahiro Sakurai, out this year.
Yep.
So exciting. So exciting. Like, I love Sakurai to death. He is one of the best directors in this industry for so many reasons. But to think that that project he teased on his YouTube channel is Kirby Air Riders, a sequel to Kirby Air Ride, that is insane, dude. I never would have thought that he would go back to Kirby.
So this is a sequel to a GameCube game, and we're getting GameCube on the Nintendo Switch online. So I wonder if we could possibly get other like GameCube inspired sequels on the Switch too.
Be sick, dude. I'm pretty sure that this has probably been a project that Sakurai's wanted to do for a long time. So I'm really excited that he's getting to do this because, I mean, he poured his everything into Ultimate, and that was just the greatest fighting game of all time. So I'm really excited to see him kind of take on his little passion project with this, and seeing him return to Kirby after so many years is just so exciting.
Yeah, it's gosh. I kind of wish it was a little more than just like a teaser trailer.
Yeah. But
But
it was so good, bro. It was so good. The music and like cuz I thought it was Smash at first. I really did. Like they used the Smash model of Kirby, and I thought it was Smash because like, that's how, with the World of Light when Kirby was falling with the stars, like wait. And then they had the air ride, the jet boosters come out, and you go into that field, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And it seems like there's going to be some multiplayer stuff too cuz there's like four different Kirbys.
oh yeah,
So,
for sure.
it's gonna be sick, man. But I'm so happy for Sakurai.
Yeah, but now this has me wondering what's his next project gonna be.
Smash for sure.
I wonder if well, people have been begging for it forever, but especially with the mouse stuff, let's just get Kid Icarus up on here.
Dude, for real. I'm shocked that Kid Icarus HD hasn't happened yet. Like I feel like that's gonna be a no-brainer for Nintendo to do for Switch 2.
It'll probably
Um,
want to be one of those put it in the Nintendo Vault to fill a release window.
right. I would really hope that Sakurai gets a chance to do a sequel for that one too, but I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen. He's his next game is 100% the next Smash. I'd be willing to bet that work has already started on it. I think Kirby Air Riders is probably done or almost done.
Yeah, it has to be. But
But that means Smash probably. Well, okay. So here's a question about Smash.
hmm.
Do you think that? What do you think about this? Because I was talking to someone about it yesterday. Do you think that? I still think we're getting a new game for sure. But do you think that there's a possibility that they're gonna not do a new game and they're gonna do a Nintendo Switch 2 edition with like new content?
I feel like if they were gonna do a Switch 2 edition, it's one of the Switch's biggest games. I feel like we would have seen it.
I agree. That's exactly what I think. Because I just think that like that's not something you would wait on. And I would say this: if I give them till the June Direct. If we don't see anything at the June Direct about it, then we're definitely getting a new game. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know how you follow it up. That's something a whole other discussion for another day. But it's like that's what they're gonna have to figure out is like, how to follow up Ultimate. I mean, that's like the ultimate game. I don't know how you follow it up. But if there's anyone that can do it, it will be Sakurai. So I'm looking forward to that. But my goodness, it is so exciting to see him on Kirby again.
Huh. I wonder if he's just like, I want to stick with Kirby for a minute and just does like the next main series entry.
I'd be fine with that. I really would. I mean, that's what when we were talking about Forgotten Land earlier, I didn't want to mention Air Riders yet, but no, I mean, Air Riders is so exciting, and Kirby is a huge year. I mean, we're getting new story content. We're getting basically a whole new, experience with Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and we're getting Air Riders. Like, that's so awesome, man. I'm so excited.
And you said this next announcement was probably your favorite, so
Definitely.
you
Oh, I
wanna
will.
burrow into
I
it.
will. So, I mean, oh, dude, I feel like we've been talking about a Donkey Kong game made by the Mario Odyssey team for 5 years. Like, I genuinely think the rumor has been 5 years at this point. And I had honestly given up hope. So, I don't know if you remember when this all started. It was like in 2021, I think. But this
That
is,
sounds about right.
rumors started to come out that the Mario Odyssey team, instead of making Mario Odyssey 2, were making a 3D Donkey Kong game in the style of Mario Odyssey. And I was like, oh my God, because I love Donkey Kong, right? I love Donkey Kong. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this would be so amazing. And it just never happened. And I kind of, just gave up. I was like, it's not going to happen. That's fine. Like, I just want to see the 3D Mario. So when they said it's their last game and they opened the thing, I was like, what the heck is this? And I was like, it's not Mario. It doesn't look like, and I saw the eyes and I was like, is this Banjo? I just thought it was Banjo for sure. And then I saw the monkeys, like, oh my God, it's DK. But guys, I'm telling you, Donkey Kong Bonanza, which amazing name, by the way, is going to be like runner up for game of the year next to Death Stranding. I'm telling you.
And
This
like,
game looks
gosh,
amazing. This game looks so good. And it's like literally, I've been waiting so many years for the rumor of this game and just to see it actually come true. Not only that, but it launches 1 month after the Switch too. Like that is so exciting. Oh man, I'm so excited, dude. It looks so good. Like I was not a fan of Donkey Kong's redesign at first, but he looks so expressive now.
I know.
It's grown on me a lot.
He seems like he has a bit of that almost like young blood like energy, like he's a little cockier, but he's confident he can do all this. And you just watch this trailer and it's just like manic action. Everything's so fast. And it almost reminds me of Tears of the Kingdom with some of the interactivity with just how the burrowing, the breaking, picking rocks up out of the ground. Like, dude.
No, 100%. And dude, it's like there's all kinds of stuff that they showed off this morning that you're 100% right. Like Donkey Kong, this looks like the Mario Odyssey team made a game that is inspired by Tears of the Kingdom. That's a 3D platformer. That's what it looks like, and it looks so sick, dude. I am so excited. Like, oh man. I will say though again, like I want to say I'm 95% sure that King K. Rool is in this game. Which is so, dude, like I've been waiting for King K. Rool to come back for so long. Like this is the time. I mean, Nintendo saw the popularity for Smash. Like, you think about this, man. King K. Rool, Donkey Kong, 3D platformer. Like that is just a match made in heaven. I legitimately cannot believe it, and it was by far my favorite announcement because I was just so so taken aback that they're doing this and it's dropping in July.
Yes, just like literally a month after, because we were wondering what, the signature platformer would be. Because we were like, oh, well, it can't be 3D Mario just yet because of the new Mario Kart. But it's awesome to see Donkey Kong getting that type of spotlight just right off the bat.
100%. And I told a friend of mine, I actually think that this is a big risk for Nintendo, this game.
Yeah, like everyone knows Donkey Kong just because of Mario, pretty much. And this is a big departure from what Donkey Kong normally is, because even Donkey Kong 64 wasn't anything quite like this.
Nope. And the biggest thing for me, and by the way, they asked at the press event for Switch 2, they asked Nintendo like, "Hey, you know, who's the developer behind this team?" Nintendo's like, "You have to wait for the credits." Stupidest thing ever, by the way. I can't stress that enough. That's so stupid. This is 1000% the Mario Odyssey team. It's 1000% the Mario Odyssey team. So the reason that I say, and I agree with you, like, Donkey Kong as an IP is nowhere near as, it's nowhere near many of other Nintendo series. So it's a huge risk on that front. But it's also a huge risk on the front that if Donkey Kong, like, you let the Mario team, the Mario 3D team, instead of working on the next Mario game, work on this. And I am so glad that you did because I'm going to buy the crap out of this game. But oh my gosh, like that is a huge risk on Nintendo's front. It really is.
And gosh, I'm just kind of like browsing through this trailer again. It has to be the Odyssey team. There's just
There's
so
zero
much
question.
of that energy there.
There is zero question it's
And
the
it
Odyssey
seems like
team.
an evolution on the art from Odyssey. Because
Agreed.
they don't have the inhibitions of the Switch. Like, God.
And that game looks so good, dude. And I'm like, yeah, no, you should. The trailer in 4K is gorgeous. Please watch it if you haven't. But yeah, I am so excited for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think that's an amazing name, by the way. That is like the perfect name they could have come up with. But yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like it really has me curious when this was developed and if this was a game that they've kind of, had done for a while and it's just been sitting, because I really refuse to believe that like we're gonna have to wait till year 3 for the 3D Mario game. Like there's no way.
No way, unless they like swapped teams, because I know Nintendo's been very getting, new blood into franchises with new directors
Right.
and all this other stuff. So they might be trying to do something really fresh with Mario. Or, like you said, they might have been sitting on this game for a couple years.
I agree. I mean, I think that it's gonna be interesting to see when Mario comes out now. I mean, I still think that by the end of 2026, this game has to be out. I thought it was gonna for sure be the holiday game this year, but honestly, I don't think it will be. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe. I feel like it has to be. It has to be base. It has to be ready. It has to be.
I'm trying to think, because I know Mario Sunshine didn't launch with the GameCube. And didn't the GameCube come out in 2001?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it came out the year after, and Luigi's Mansion was like the big, like Mario-esque type
Yeah.
game to come out.
And then yeah, Sunshine launched in August in North America, 2002.
So maybe we could see Mario next year.
I think that's what I'm leaning towards. But I will say, if we see it next year, it's going. I still think it will be within Nintendo's fiscal year. So I think we're getting Mario by March at the latest.
I can definitely see that. And
But
gosh, if they did for real do that, they'd have probably amazing numbers for all these fiscals and
yep,
to show to investors.
yep, I agree. Well, you want to. Here's the thing: we're gonna see the Mario game this year, no matter what, because they have to sell people on the console. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying like, look, I'm sold. Kirby Air Riders, DK Bonanza. I'm already sold. Take my money. But Mario Kart World, okay, here's more money. Like I'm sold. I'm sold. And I'm part of the problem, I know, but I'm sold. I mean, the games look amazing. They look amazing, dude. And I'm just sitting here like, man, like this 3D Mario game, the Mario Odyssey killer, is going to be unbelievable. And I keep saying that. The Mario Odyssey killer. Super Mario Odyssey is one of my favorite games. It's in my top 25 games of all time, for sure. And I just firmly believe that whatever Nintendo has been cooking for the last 8 years is going to surpass it. Like, there's just no doubt in my mind.
Like I said, if there's someone who can do it, it's gonna be Nintendo.
100%. Yeah, but oh man, dude, Switch 2 is super exciting, really. I mean, I'm pretty overjoyed with everything but the pricing, really, and then the physical bits. But yeah, it's the software speaks for itself. It looks amazing.
Yeah, they're gonna get probably about $1,000 out of me this year.
I know, dude. I'm like, oh my gosh, June is gonna be so expensive because not only is Death Stranding 2 coming out, I bought the collector's edition for that. We got Mario Kart, we got Switch 2, and I'm also, by the way, biggest painful thing I realized yesterday, the second they revealed the date, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be in Los Angeles for Summer Game Fest.
Uh,
So my Switch 2 will be sitting. I'm gonna have to have someone pick mine up, or I'm gonna have to ship it to my house. But my Switch 2 will be sitting and waiting for me when I get home the next week. But it's all right. I Summer Game Fest is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm like, man, I was telling a friend of mine yesterday. I'm like, you better not be hiding, holed up in your hotel room playing Mario Kart instead of socializing, dude. Like, we're gonna see some people magically disappear. I think, but no, dude, it's super exciting. They really did everything that they needed to do with the console itself, and they delivered. I mean, it is a beast of a machine.
yeah, gosh, because really, this is exactly why we started this episode off a little more negative. There's really only that one sticking point, because literally everything else is just anything you could have asked for, hoped for, and then some.
Yeah, dude.
It's just so genuinely exciting. Like, gosh, I'm bouncing my leg up with energy right now under my desk because these games, and even something like a remaster like Bravely Default has me. Mario Kart looks great, Donkey Kong, and this just it just makes me wonder what else we're going to see in the future because we have an entire generation ahead of us.
Yep. And I
And if,
mean, honestly, this is just the beginning, and like we don't even know what we're getting this year. Still, we know like 5 games.
gosh, like these next like 7 or 8 years are going to be crazy because Nintendo's not being held back by hardware. They're doing like the best they've ever done. They have so many teams, so many talented people. We're gonna for real have like an awesome like Nintendo renaissance after the Switch pretty much saved them.
No, for real. And I think one of the things that's crazy that I think people fail to realize is like, Nintendo's the market leader right now. They are. And this just solidified their position for the future, I believe. Because regardless of how you feel about the Switch pricing or even the game pricing, as much as I hate to say it, stuff's gonna sell. All right, it is. And, the quality of the software speaks for itself. And I have no doubt that if they're going to put out games that look like Donkey Kong and Mario Kart and, granted we didn't see gameplay, but Kirby Air Riders, we are in for a treat, dude.
Oh gosh. Xenoblade
Don't
4,
even, don't even get me started, bro. I need Xenosaga Remix Band on Namco, and I need Xenoblade 4.
and 5 and 6.
Oh, it'll all come. Don't worry. Just give us those upgrades, though, man. Those upgrades gotta happen. My
I'm gonna be
goodness,
so upset if they don't do that somehow.
dude,
Surely
we
they
got it.
gotta, right?
They
Right?
have to. They have it, bro. If there's any studio at Nintendo that's gonna actually put in the work to bring their games up to par, it's Monolith. I mean, they've gone above and beyond with everything they put out. They're gonna do it. I have faith.
So
But
are we gonna get a Salvagers Notes app
oh, shut up, bro.
where
No
we can
way.
track quest
Give me
items
Xenoblade 2
and
DE, bro. I don't want some app, man. I don't want to learn the sixth rule of the Salvagers code yet, man. I want that to be a secret.
no, then we gotta get like a party chat things coming out of my phone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Discord too, man. I love Discord too. But at the end of the day, Switch 2 is exciting. There's absolutely things that, rightfully we're upset about, and you should be too. But you know what? Nintendo did what Nintendo does best, and that was show quality software and, continue to push the industry forward. But that's going to do it for this episode of Switch Point. I cannot believe the runtime looking at it right now. But
Ooh
we're
boy.
here, and yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to let us know in the comments what your favorite trailer for the Switch 2 was, if you're picking one up and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, Payne, I'll let you do the honors.
All right, well, we have exciting times ahead of us, but like we said, time to wait and see. We've seen some great things already, so I'm excited. Noah's excited, so we'll catch you on the flip side, and maybe through a Switch 2 camera someday.